one's for my number one fan. Tracks. Velvet in the building, baby. Let's count it up. Payday Friday. Yeah. Money printer singing like Sinatra on tour. I'm the glitch in the system, Wall Street soar. Come on. Every candle I touch turns green like slime. Yes, sir. Payday. I'm the gospel of the ticker and the pulpit is mine. Velvet don't trade. Velvet dictates trends. Cash rivers overflow, drowning all your fake friends. Turn your stop loss into my down payment, while my profit chart climb like a stairway to heaven. Whispers on the floor say I am the report. Stack so loud, NASDAQ feel noise, complaints in court. Every red day is just a setup for my entry. I baptize the bear bull horns for the ministry. Every short you place is a boost to my throne. Your loss is my wine, pour it out, watch it foam. Come on, Velvet don't gamble, Velvet rewrites fate. Yes, sir. Hey, ow. Even market guys whisper when I step to the plate. I'm the ticket's temptation, liquidity sin. Turn futures to confessions. Wall Street's born again. Degenerate Messiah with the gospel of green. By the dip, flip the script, Velvet reigns supreme. Options like confetti spreads, raining on the floor. Every candle I ignite, got the brokers begging more. Portfolio baptized, prophets holy and divine. You pray for a rally, Velvet wrote the design. Ooh, ladies. Listen, bitch. See, they try to play, yeah, but I am the game. Ha. Velvet don't chase, Velvet sets the pace. Velvet don't chase, Velvet sets the pace. Ready for chase, Velvet sets the pace. Ready for chase, face the pace. Payday Friday, baby, sing it loud. Come on, every trade I lay down shakes the whole damn crowd. Side with the king where the charts glow lit. Cause with Velvet in the room, every candle's legit. Payday, come on, payday. Payday Friday. Woo! I make Wall Street sweat when I enter the ring. Every chart bends down when it hears Velvet sing. Come on now. The throne is eternal, my prophets don't sway. Now let's make some motherfucking money.
Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of the Matt Kohrs Show, where it is a beautiful Friday, November the 21st, and we are getting rocking for a Payday Friday. Folks, a little bit of a round of applause for almost surviving this entire week. We just have one more day to go, and then we're going to have a beautiful weekend. But between now and then, let's see if we can make some dinero. Let's see if we can make some good trades, or maybe we just see if we could have a little bit of fun. But I appreciate you joining me this early in the morning. I know it's the crack of dawn. I know we're up before the sun is. I know we are putting some work in even before our local farmers are. So I do appreciate you joining me this early in the morning. My goal right now in the next 27 minutes is to get you guys prepped up for what is most likely going to prove to be a pretty crazy day in the markets. Obviously, if you paid attention to what happened yesterday, it was one of the largest intraday sell-offs we've ever seen. $1 trillion. I'm not saying million. I'm not saying billion. I am saying trillion. $1 trillion of market cap was lost from the U.S. stock market yesterday, and that's not even accounting for what happened in the world of crypto. And when you start to add those numbers in, well, it gets a little bit worse. And with all of that in mind, obviously everyone's on edge asking the question of, is this a little bit of a dead cat bounce right now? Is it going to plummet, or should we be buying this dip? That's what we're going to kind of be figuring out today. And to make it all that much more fun, it's also going to be in OPEX. Options expiration is today. It's not the biggest monthly OPEX we've ever seen, but there's a lot of positions starting at 9:30 today and also going into 4 p.m. today that people are going to have to roll it. Just today is the expiration date, so they're going to have to choose to take their profits, admit their losses, roll the position, switch their position. A lot of movement, a lot of money exchanging hands, a lot of just craziness today. So My goal is to break all of that down, and ideally, maybe we make some good trades throughout the day today. So, of course, we'll talk about my options. We'll talk about our futures positions. Well, I don't have any right now. I'm flat. I was finally disciplined for once, and I wasn't trading overnight. So, I forgot about that though. I do need to set up the bot, but I think the bot's broken. All right. Anyway, we're going to have to come back to that. So the bot question, maybe you're going to be a little bit suspect, but we're going to see how that goes today. And then, of course, because it is a beautiful Friday, that means, in fact, it is going to be a Payday Friday. This is free for everyone watching, for everyone listening to enter. All you have to do is like, retweet, and follow. It is pinned to the top of chat. It is in the description of the video. We are giving away 10 prop accounts, 5 from Apex, 5 from Funded Futures Networks. Both are running a crazy deal. And then, of course, on top of that, we are going to be doing the classic Friday Payday Marble Race. And the winner of that will be getting $150 of cold hard cash. If you are watching right now, if you are listening right now, you might as well enter. It is free to enter. So check that out. I do want to remind you right now, Apex, this is the final trading day to take advantage of this deal. This is the best deal that they've ever offered. 80% off with that code Goonie. And on top of that, it is only a $40 upgrade fee to performance. And then with Funded Futures Network, 50% off when you buy when you get one, and there's no activation fee. So here you can get 2 accounts, $75 all in, and on Apex you could get all in for also $75. So check them out, show them a little bit of love. Remember, you could get that best deal with the code Goonie, and this is going to be in a little bit, but to my Rumble viewers who are already here early this morning, you're going to kind of notice something interesting is going on. And let me see. Actually, I'm on my old Rumble, so can I switch this up over here to show you guys? Yes, right here. You're going to notice something a little interesting is going on in chat. And what you're seeing here are not normal Rumble rants. They are Rumble rants. But if you look at the currency that they're in, we are actually here to announce one of the biggest releases in recent history for Rumble. We're talking about the Rumble wallet is going live. So whether you're watching on YouTube right now, or especially if you are watching on Rumble, you are kind of going to be one of the first audiences who are able to take advantage of the Rumble wallet. You can find the link pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. Just so you know, right now it is available for Android users, and what I'm being told is for iOS, if you happen to be on an iPhone, it is coming out soon. So right now for Android users, this is live. You can use it, you can install it, and what's really cool about it is as soon as you set up your account, your wallet, this is a crypto wallet, you're going to start to notice that you have the tip option, and you could actually start doing it with crypto. So as soon as you create your account, get the wallet ready to go, you're going to see a brand new way to tip. And that's exactly what we are seeing right here this morning with some of the crypto coming through. So shout out to Rick. Happy Friday. So obviously Rumble, in my opinion, always kind of pushing the envelope, seeing what they can develop next. And Chris, the CEO of Rumble, the chairman, the founder, has kind of really gone on the record multiple times saying that they want to do what is best for creators. And right now, it doesn't matter if you're on Rumble or wherever you are, as a creator or really as a person supporting a creator, well, all of a sudden you can start cutting out that middleman and really support whoever you want to support directly with crypto. So really cool. Like I said, pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. Right now, it is rolled out for Android, and then obviously in the near future, it'll be out for iOS. And we're going to be kind of checking it out throughout the day today. So just another special way to celebrate Payday Friday. Let me move myself over here for 1 second because I should be doing my job and getting you guys ready for market open. Stock futures rebound after Fed's Williams revives December rate cut hopes. Now, depending on what time you got up today, you probably had a very different opinion on where we are going, because at one point, right around 5 in the morning, right around 7 in the morning, things were looking dismal. We were below the low and the close of yesterday, both on the SPY and on the Qs. And then right here around 7:30, we kind of got this pop. And granted, since then, it's slowing down a little bit. But at 7:30 is when the New York Fed president, Williams, was basically saying, yeah, I think we're going to get the rate cut. And that's kind of what saved us a little bit, to the point that it was able to pump the S&P 500 from around 6,500 to about 6,575. So that commentary, and I'm going to show you the odds change, was able to get us up about 50 points. Now, obviously, the goal in question, is it going to hold or not? Well, we're about to find out. And as you can see how the colors change right here at 9:30. That's because of OPEX. So you can see that we're actually losing some of this positive gamma right at market open. So remember Wednesday, how we had a weird opening where there was a big pump, and then Wednesday we had a big sell-off, and that was because of vol expiration. I wouldn't be so surprised if we also see an equivalent amount of just chaos and hecticness at market open. But I just want to let you know, this pump at 7:30 is basically exclusively because of this discussion right here. 7:30 in the morning, New York Fed President John Williams speaks, and in that commentary, he basically said, yeah, I think we're going to get these rate cuts. New York Fed President Williams sees room for further adjustments. So because of just that comment, look at how much it altered the markets. Going into it, this is at 7:35, 7:37, 5 to 7 minutes into the day, we are just seeing a clear change. Going into that commentary, it was more likely than not that we're not getting a rate cut. And then since then, it is now more likely that we will be getting the 25 bips rate cut. So you can see that switch right there, not only in the call sheet market, also in the poly market, you can see the switch, but it's all because of Fed Williams at the discussion early this morning. And basically in the short term, that's what stopped us from going down. Now, will that be enough to keep us going? Obviously, your guess is as good as mine, but we will be finding out very soon. Yo, check this out. So cool. Shout out Rumble Rick. Oh, we actually got some Bitcoin. So check this out. We're actually dealing in different cryptos. You have a little USDT. You have a little USDT. Okay. So we're dealing with various cryptos right now. For those of you who don't know, just to not let the cat out of the bag or anything, you could check this out on the Rumble wallet. You could also see it here, wallet.rumble.com support if you have any questions to see which ones they're supporting. But it's in the world of USDT, also Bitcoin, and also gold. So those are the three that it's going to be supporting out of the gate. And once again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, wallet.rumble.com/support. You could check it out. And then, of course, if you have any follow-up additional questions, you could always email them at their support email. But I was looking through the FAQ this morning, and there was already quite a bit in here built out. So definitely feel free to peruse. But anyway, back to the market. Well, maybe we should talk a little bit about crypto because it was having a rough night. In fact, it's been having a pretty rough October and November. From the all-time high until now, it is down 33.6%. We recently took out some of these lows. We even took that out. The next structural low is down at 74,000. And I'm talking about the low from April, which is when we had the whole first announcements of the trade wars and the tariffs and all that stuff. So that low was 74.4. Depending on how today goes, especially in the equities market with OPEX, I think there's a very, very real shot that this might be a reasonable thing to test. Of course, the pathway to that could be very questionable and very difficult. Maybe there's some like violent bounces, or maybe it's a straight sell-off. You just never know. But I'm saying from a structural level, a bullish recovery would be above this recent bullish day at 93.7 thousand, or we have the downside support, which could get really hectic down at 74.3. And we've been covering that story of James Wynn for a while. You know, that guy who had the 40x leverage downside bet on crypto. A lot of people laughing at him because he threw it on here Monday, November the 10th and the 11th, and his liquidation level was pretty much a couple $100 away from getting hit, and then the market just dumped in his favor, and he made millions and millions of dollars. Absolutely crazy. So, of course, we're going to be talking about that today because it is one of the hot stories of the market right now, but then obviously it just pairs up with what we see going on in the world of big, big developments from Rumble. Oh, looks like we even have Asaf in here today. Shout out Asaf. Man, this team really pulled off a pretty cool product. I'm excited to see where they take it. Some USDTC there, some Bitcoin there, and I am just getting, I'm getting notifications out the wazoo on my phone. I set up the wallet on my phone earlier today, and I'm just getting it. That's really, really cool. Rumble wallet. Pretty, let me see if I can sign in. It has to scan my face to make sure that I am me. The interface is so slick. You're going to see this as soon as you have the account yourself. But wow, like it's super, super slick. I know there's some weird reflection right now, but interesting. Very cool. All right, let's get back to beyond the John Williams, beyond the crypto story of the day, some of the other interesting things going on. The general I suppose, question or fear of what in the world is happening really kind of took that awkward turn yesterday, because we closed out Wednesday. I'm rewinding 2 days now. And yeah, we had 1, 2, 3 closes below the 50 EMA. We wicked up to the 50 EMA on the S&P 500, but it didn't really matter because right at market close, we were all waiting on the earnings from NVIDIA. NVIDIA closed out, and as you can see, the next day we were up about 5%, I believe 5.06%. We opened up really, really strong to the point that you can see here. NVIDIA cleared its 50 EMA, cleared the cloud. S&P 500 did the same thing. If you look at the NASDAQ, similar situation. Basically, we thought, oh, okay, NVIDIA saved us. And then right before market opened yesterday, around 8:30, we got some of the delayed jobs data, and they were actually neutral to bullish too. So it was kind of that bullish 1-2 combo punch, and that's why at market open, there was a clear amount of enthusiasm. NVIDIA crushed. The AI trade was alive and well. Then we got to the jobs data, which we were all a little bit suspect of, because why weren't we getting it? Why were they seeming to attempting to hide it? Are they hiding something really bad? Nope, we got the data, actually neutral to bullish, and that's why there was so much optimism at market open yesterday. It lasted for about 1 hour, an hour and a half. We started to crack this low, and yeah, people were rightfully calling out the downside gap fill. We had this key level at 6,700. The gap fill was 10 points below it, and I myself, just to be completely transparent, I thought that's where the bounce zone was going to be. I thought anywhere between 40, maybe 80, somewhere in here would be the most extreme it got, and as you could see, it just got worse and worse and worse. Now, if you're wondering why, I did do a better job explaining this in the update video yesterday. There's many little reasons of that people are pointing to, and I could argue at the end of the day, why does it matter? Price is king. You're either making money by being on the right side of the trend, or you're losing money by being on the wrong side. But for those of you who are like, oh, I'd like some sort of like reasoning here, I would say it's because of, well, maybe the AI bubble isn't alive and well. Yeah, NVIDIA, okay, it did well, but maybe larger Wall Street players are saying, we even had a higher bar to keep this bubble going. Maybe that's potential. Obviously, if you look at our favorite risk on, risk off indicator, Bitcoin is not looking good. Obviously, people are currently moving to being risk off. From there, there's questions about what the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, said midday, where there might be a jobs issue, and we're only going to find out after the December monetary policy meeting, the FOMC meeting, and then also going into that yesterday, granted the odds have now switched, it looked like we were getting no rate cut whatsoever. So there was a lot of things like moving, but if you ask me, whether you believe those explanations or not, what I kind of saw in the market yesterday was almost equivalent to just a bank run. I think people started to panic, and because other people panicked, they said, why are you selling? And before people really asked the question of what are you doing? Why are you doing it? They just saw things going down, and no one wants to be the last one holding the hot potato. So because you sold, they sold. Because they sold, someone else sold. And because they sold, I sold. And before you know it, it just became this negative feedback loop. So I think that's a better explanation of what was going on. But at the end of the day, you don't get extra points. You don't get extra dollars. You don't even get a medal. You don't even get a cookie for being the one to explain why something happened. What you get a reward for is just being on the right side of the trend. So I just want to kind of throw that out there for today, because whether we can explain the exact reasoning of why other traders are doing what they are or aren't doing, it doesn't really matter. What matters is price. So I just want to remind everyone of that. I should also remind you that's not it today with macroeconomic events. We have more Fed speakers. So Williams is talking this morning, and that's why we're getting a little bit of a pop. But between now and pretty much market open, starting a couple minutes ago, Collins is speaking. You have a lot of voting Fed members speaking right now. At 9:45, we're going to get some PMI numbers, and at 10 a.m., we're going to be getting consumer sentiment. So don't be surprised in the short term. I'm talking a couple minutes at 9:45 if there's a bit of a jostle in the market. Also at 10 a.m., I just want to put that on everyone's radar. Obviously, if you're joining in now, you need to know the reason we're getting a little bit of a relief is because the odds of a 25 bips rate cut in the December meeting are currently increasing. Will it hold? Will it not hold? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. With respect to individual equities, I also want to remind you that we are now pretty much done with earnings season. Now that we have the results from Nvidia and Walmart, yeah, there's technically a couple earnings next week, but if anything, it gets really quiet from now. So we're going to have this holiday period, a multi-week break, and then obviously we're going to be waiting for the next earnings. If you haven't already, don't forget to sign up for the newsletter. It is 100% free, macquarie.locals.com. It comes to your email inbox every single Sunday. I break down what's going on in the market. I give you a cheat sheet for the earnings, and obviously this little graphic right here. I give you an idea of all the major macroeconomic events you should be paying attention to on an individual basis. For example, today, 9:45, the PMI numbers, 10 a.m., consumer sentiment, and then probably most useful is the seasonality of each day. Now, I don't want you guys to read too much into this because it being OPEX, and right now it's kind of a special, unique situation, and things are obviously pretty tense, but historically, over the past really almost 30 years worth of information, technically 27, this day has favored the bulls. This individual day has been won by the bulls 61% of the time. So if you're bullish today, you technically do have an 11% edge, but I want to let you know that just like with this particular setup, I'm not really too sure myself if I'm going to be taking seasonality into account. What I care a lot more about is the positioning of the big players in the options market. I care, are we holding this positive gamma level? Will they protect 6,500? Will they predict 6,475? Wow, this even switched this morning. We had some positive gamma up here, but that switched to negative gamma. I think there's going to be big movement today. Stability's 55%. It's not the best we've seen. It's not the worst we've seen, but I have a feeling at market open, it's going to change because do not forget, it is OPEX. So there is a lot going on. Oh, check this out. Shout out to Mario, a little USDT there. Is this thing on? Shout out Mario. That is very kind. Folks, if you want to check it out, Rumble has officially rolled out the Rumble wallet, which you can use to either support your favorite creators or use for your best crypto desires, whatever it is. Check it out. It is rolled out right now for Android. Pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. Of course, it is free to download. It's not some sort of thing that you have to pay for. It is a crypto wallet that is being supported by Rumble in conjunction with Tether. Check that out. And obviously, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, wallet.rumble.com/support. And also, if you're just joining in right now, we have a couple minutes to go until market open. I do want to let you know it is a payday Friday. We are giving away 10 prop accounts today, 5 from Apex, 5 from Funded Futures Networks, and of course, the winner of the marble race will be getting not only the coveted bragging rights of being the fastest marble racer in all of the land, but of course, on top of that, you will be getting the $150 of cold, hard cash. So like I said, it's free for everyone to enter. All you have to go is it's pinned on my profile. Like I said, pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. Like, retweet, and follow. So anyone who has an X account, it is free for you guys to enter as we do on every payday Friday. All right, now let's really get into the nitty gritty of what in tarnation is happening today. Well, first of all, here are my key levels. Just for a little bit of context, we are currently trading at 6,563. If the market were to open right now, we would be roughly where my cursor is, i.e. in the transition zone. If this is your first time on the show, let me just remind you that the green horizontal line, the red horizontal line, and the white horizontal line are the previous trading session's high, low, and close. Those are key technical level, key psychological levels, and a lot of the time they align with key option levels. A lot of people like to play the strikes of the previous high, low, and close. Other than that, you're going to see this white box, which is the transitional zone for market makers. Basically, it has something to do with how they're going to have to hedge out their books for protection. It's thought to be bullish above, bearish below, and choppy within. So once again, that is the white box. And then the final thing on your screen are these yellow horizontal lines, which just happen to be where big money is placed on a 0 DTE basis. Obviously, you can see big money at 6,500. You can see big money at 6,475, big money at 6,550. Big money at 6,570. You get the point, but all those yellow horizontal lines are the areas where we're looking for a potential reaction because we know big money has to make some sort of decision, which is really the beauty of trading the options market. Since it's all fully publicly available, there's no dark pools or anything like that, we can see where large players are positioned. So those are the yellow horizontal lines. And based on where we are opening, 6,564, we're right here. So basically what I'll be looking for out of the gate, if we were to open right now, is can we get above and hold above 6,575? If the bulls can play that out, my first target would be 6,600. And then from there, I'd be looking for somewhere to scale out between 6,625 and 6,640. That's how I would play the bull case, but that's not my bias of the day, at least not yet. If we get rejected in this level, I'd be looking for the test of 6,550. It is a key technical level, psychological level, and options level. If that doesn't hold, then we're getting into the danger zone, like the legitimate bearish danger zone of the day at yesterday's close and yesterday's low. If the bull camp can't hold this, if the bear camp cracks this level, you might get a little bit of a relief at 6,515, but I have a sneaky suspicion that everyone and their mother and their brother and their sister is going to be watching 6,500. Maybe you're busy today. Maybe you're dropping your kids off at school. Maybe you get pulled into a meeting and you can't hang out with us. You should be setting an alert at 6,500. The bull camp needs to defend that. If the bear camp cracks it, I think there's a very, very real shot we get tilted into negative gamma, which is this red zone. And then before you know it, you get that slippery price action, potentially all the way down to 6,450. So right now, I am bearishly biased. And the reason I'm bearishly biased is when I come here, I look at the 30-minute, I look at the 4-hour, they are bearish. I look at the 30-minute, I look at the 4-hour, they are clearly bearish for the NASDAQ and for the S&P 500. So really what I'm looking at is, will the 5-minute and the 10-minute remain bullish and push things higher? Or are they going to get drug under their 50 MA? And then before you know it, all 8 of our timeframes are on the bearish side of things. So that's what I'll be looking for out of the gate, but I cannot express this enough. It is OPEX. Like craziness is going to be happening in 5 minutes, and it's probably going to last for the first hour of the day, which then of course could lead to even more craziness. So I just wanted to put that on everyone's radar. Expect a lot of craziness today. Please don't just be married to your buys. If you're coming in today saying, I got to buy the dip, maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. If you're coming in today and you're like, nope, I gotta just sell and go short and be bearish. No, let the market tell you what in the world's going on. Not only should, in my opinion, you be paying attention to these key levels, but you should also be paying attention, obviously, to the flow throughout the day. And I will remind you of the flow on the S&P 500 and the Mag 7 throughout the day. Final thing, shout out to Spot Gamma here. This is basically the net results of what happened yesterday. And if you're bullish, you're not going to want to hear this. If you're bearish, you probably are going to want to hear this, because you can see right here, BTO, buy to open. A lot of people were buying SPY puts December 12th, SPY puts December 12th, SPY puts December 12th, IWM puts. So they weren't necessarily betting against the NASDAQ, but they were definitely betting against the overall market and the Russell. A lot of buy to opens there. So I wanted to put that on your radar. And I also wanted to point out the implications of, can I zoom in? Can you guys see this enough? Here, I'll zoom in a little bit, enhance. Oh, that's not making the picture better. But you could just see, these are the plays that are going to be expiring between market open today and 4 p.m. because it is OPEX. And once again, because you have OPEX, that is not associated with bullishness or bearishness. It is associated with larger ranges, a lot of volatility, because big money is transferring hands and they basically just need to make a lot of decisions. So we have quite a few puts expiring today. That could be very good or it could be very bad. If they expire and these people, these traders decide to lock in their money, great. That's a lot of negative delta that they're going to close it out, and maybe they just take their money and go on into the weekend. That's possible. However, if they decide to roll their positions and add more negative delta, well, we're going to see what we saw yesterday where the delta got pushed down. The Mag 7 also, that delta got pushed down. And before you know it, the market just kind of vomits. So it's just a very tenuous situation that we just need to be doing our best to pay attention to. So this is basically your final reminder. Do not be married to either directional bias. What you should be married to is the idea of playing the current trend and trying to take advantage of the current trend with a low risk, high reward opportunity. If you are coming in attempting to predict, oh, I got to buy this dip, or oh, I got to sell every rip, you might be right, maybe 50% of the time. But if you want to actually survive this game, this marathon of trading, more so, just come to the trend. Great. Look at the trend. Look at what's going on in the world of options. If all of that is aligning one way or the other, see if you could take advantage of that trend. And that would be my major advice to get through these high volatility environments. Oh, check this out. I didn't know Polygon was there. Shout out Michael, USDT, and Rumble Rick. Here is some USDT on the Polygon network. So right here, you guys are getting some real-time proof that they have XAUT. So that's going to be the gold. You have Bitcoin. So really, we're dealing with quite a few networks there. Very, very cool. Folks, if you want to have a little bit of fun with Rumble, or if you're on Rumble and you just want to support the company, like I said, if you have an Android, it is rolled out on the Google Play Store. You can get the Rumble wallet right now. It is free to install. And if you're sitting there saying, hey, man, I have an iPhone, I want it, just so you know, it is coming out on iOS pretty soon. So that is coming soon. So as soon as I get the information and the exact date, I will happily let all of you know. All right, so with all that being said, let me get ready because we have about 45 seconds. And as I am prepping up for this, question for all of you. Are you bullish or bearish? I know I'm the person who told you that you should not be predicting, but what is your gut telling you at the moment? What is your gut telling you right now? Is this going to be a horrendous sell-off of a day, or do you think this is actually going to prove to be a phenomenal dip buying opportunity? Where are you guys at? Where are you guys at? Where are you at? Where are you at? Are you bearish? Are you bullish? Angelo is bearish. Oh, wait, we have a lot of... Well, Brian's bullish in chat. Well, we're about to find out. We are about to find out. Oh, just to show you guys, I haven't made any trades yet today. In fact, I actually think I need to turn on this guy. Reconnect. I think I need to add my bot. My bots were turned off. It's connecting. But as you can see, on my Apex accounts, just haven't done anything quite yet today. Actually, on that note, dingity ding ding ding. The world's largest casino is now open. Best of luck to all. Play responsibly, and if not, have fun. All right, a little bit of optimism out of the gate. I'm gonna let you guys know this is OPEX. What you are seeing right now is just some crazy like rolls of positions. You can see how the gamma map has already changed. We actually just between what we had. It's going to keep changing, actually, and it's probably going to change very, very rapidly. So I'm going to keep my eye on this, pay attention to, really, are we going to get some positive gamma beneath that's going to offer as support, or is it going to turn more negative gamma, and then that opens up the door for some slippery price action to the downside. So remind me to keep checking on this if you feel like I'm not, and then obviously I also want to show you the options flow. We're probably not going to get the most information from this out of the gate, but let's see. Mag 7 is currently flat, and then looking at the S&P 500 pop for the first 30 seconds, and then for the next 30 seconds we started to get a little bit of a hit. But like I said, we're only a minute or two into the day. I wouldn't be reading too much into it. I'm expecting a lot of movement, a lot of volatility, a lot of craziness, and what I need to do is strategies, new strategy. I need to turn on my bot properly if Ninja ever decides to wake up today. Hello, Ninja. Hello? Why is this not working? Does it not want me to? The bots are attacking. Oh, wait. Here we go. Icarus, short. Icarus. All right. We're going to do that. All right. Cool. Gotcha. We have one loaded. New strategy. Let me add in one more. Icarus long. All right, I did make a couple changes here and there, so we're going to find out if these changes were worthwhile or not. We are going to find out if they are worthwhile. All right, okay. I already messed one up. I did not do the right. All right, I think we should be good. All right, the bot is on. The bot is ready to go. The bot is enabled. We're going to see. Yesterday was a pretty good day with the bot. It honestly was. And I recognize, like, you guys probably saw it right at the end of the show. There was one opportunity where I thought it could be a bit better. So I try to make those changes. We're going to find out if they were worthwhile or not today. So it's on. Right now, I enabled the short side. I just don't really feel like playing the long side at this moment because it feels like the bottom could fall out at any second. And I don't necessarily want to be involved in that. So the bot is on, hasn't traded yet. And if it does start to trade, you are going to see it right here. This is the account FFN. That's the account that the bot is enabled on. So right here, $50,000. We are starting off scratch right now, and we're going to see how it plays out. But the market is already taking a little bit of a hit. But let's see if we can see the key levels. NVIDIA is diving. AVDA. There we go. Cracking that low. Cracking that low. All right. We're going to see if maybe it reverses the intraday high at all. Tesla is a little bit green on the day. Palantir is a little bit green on the day. Google's a little bit green on the day after hitting a new all-time high yesterday. Qubits is continuing to break down. I am playing against Qubits. I'm actually looking for it to come down to 16. Rigetti is slightly green. I am also looking to play against that. Rigetti. Oh, bots trading. Well, that doesn't seem right. Did I put it on the wrong chart? Order submitted. There's no trade. What happened? Am I losing my mind? I had the mic off so you guys didn't hear that it said order submitted. What is it talking about? I'm thoroughly confused. I swear I heard order submitted. And just nothing happened. I don't know what to tell you. Nothing happened there. Okay, well, we're going to keep track of that and see how that plays out today. But MSTR, it's just been diving, but slightly green right now. Rigetti slightly green. Qubits slightly red. Microsoft slightly red. Meta is currently slightly green, trying to hold 581. Tesla is holding it. It gets dangerous below 393. That might be setting up a test of this level right here. The snap on TSLA is 382, so you might want to watch that. Bitcoin bouncing off of 81,000, currently at 84, but obviously we're going to be setting up some alert. You know what? I'll just have the daily high and low thus far to see if anything is happening there. We don't want to miss any of this. The Russell bouncing a little bit. The Q's bouncing a little bit less. I'll mark out yesterday's low. SPY, similar situation. I'll mark out yesterday's low. All right, here's a look at the... do I need to... how do I turn off mute site? That was, I believe, a spot gamma. Sorry, because that scared the shit out of me too. It must have been a flow alert on the S&P 500, if I'm guessing. No real trend quite yet today. No real trend in the options flow. Little up, little down, little up, little down on the S&P 500. Mag 7 was a little down, back a little up. So no real trend right there. Look at that. Look at this. This 1 minute chart is one of the ugliest charts you can see. Green, red, green, red, green, red, green. I bet the next one is red. I'm throwing out a crazy...
Order submitted.
What the fuck, dude? That is not a trade it should have taken at all. I almost wonder if this is the trade that I heard a while ago and it's just crazy delayed. This is not an appropriate trade. This looks like nothing like we did yesterday. Just so you know, if this hits or misses, it's purely random. I have no mathematical argument and reasoning for this particular trade. All I can tell you is it doesn't look right. And I don't know if it's the new code that I wrote that's broken or if something's delayed. I just want to make it clear. If this hits or does not hit, it's just pure randomness. Like absolute pure randomness. All right, that's a really disgusting, messy opening. NVIDIA taking a bit of a hit while Bitcoin is getting actually a pretty nice pump, about a $2,000 pump right there. Little bit of enthusiasm coming into market open because of how the odds have changed for the rate cut in the December meeting. So if you're coming in right now and you're like, dude, yesterday was pretty horrible. I'm seeing some green on the charts. What's going on? Why are most things up 0.5%, maybe even more? The reasoning for that is because of Fed Williams, the New York Fed president, at 7:30 a.m. this morning. He was chit-chatting about what he sees.
Target filled.
All right, I guess that hit. It hit, but I just want to make it clear that's pure luck. That $100 is just pure luck. That was not supposed to be a trade, like, at all. Am I running it on the right one? Yeah, no, that's on the right one. I'm just double checking myself over here to make sure it's not crazy. No, it looks right. I don't know what that trade was, folks. The bot's gone rogue. The bot's gone completely rogue on us. All right, here's a look at the flow. S&P 500 still not really trending. Mag 7 tried to get a little bit of a pump for the first 8 minutes and now taking a bit of a hit. We have some call selling going on right now in the Mag 7. And then looking at the S&P 500, there was some put selling this morning and just calls are completely flat. If you are bullish, be careful because no one is buying calls right now. If you are thinking that this is legitimately going to pop to the upside, maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, but all I can tell you is the market, the options market does not currently agree with you. We have a little bit of call selling. It's been going flat. People are not chasing into calls. If you are trying to quote unquote like catch the falling knife, trying to buy this dip, you'd probably want to wait a second or two and just see if the options market actually agrees with you. Because I'm not seeing any call buying on the S&P 500 or on the Mag 7. Actually, on the Mag 7, I'm seeing call selling. So just be careful. And then obviously, we're in the transition zone. Remember how I said the transition zone is commonly denoted as choppy? Green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. Like, just we're either waiting for the push when I said we got to get above 75 or the break below 50. 50 is where things get interesting. I think that's going to be pretty decisive in terms of maybe the bulls want to step in here and bounce it back up to 70. However, if it doesn't hold, that's when we're going to be getting the classic red to green test, as in red to or green to red on the day, because yesterday we closed out at 539. So I'd be watching this 50 level just to see how the market reacts there. Obviously, the bot took one pretty erroneous trade that I have honestly no clue what it was looking at, but hey, sometimes it's easier to be lucky than it is to be skillful. Sometimes it is way easier to do that. If it doesn't hold 200, I think it should go short if it breaks down below 200 again. Wow, dude, look at these pumps. We went from 50 to 40. We just pumped 90 points. If you had one NQ contract, that is $1,800. And we did that in 1 minute. In 1 minute per contract, that was a swing of almost 2K. Almost 2K. That's how crazy this is getting. That's absolutely insane how wild this is right now. I mean, even this one bar from 22 to 48, it's 25 points. That's a $500 bar. The range of this bar was $500. If you needed more information to tell you that, maybe just wait for vol to calm down or trade less size, or maybe instead of trading minis, go to micros. I don't know what other information you need, but we went from 50 down to 50. That's a $2,000 swing, followed by a $1,800 pump. And now every bar is basically moving about $500. And that's per one NQ mini contract. Like you're seeing some serious movement, a lot of choppiness, a lot of movement. And look at that. We saved ourselves at the 50 EMA on the 1 minute, a little bit of a bounce off the intraday low, a little bit of a sweep of that low, right back up to this key level. So let's see. Right now, pretty much range bound. I think anyone would pretty much agree this is a range bound situation. Please remember, in about 2 to 3 minutes, we will be getting the PMI numbers for manufacturing and services. So I'm curious if it's going to break the 15-minute Orbo to the upside or to the downside. So these blue lines just marked out the current intraday high and low. Bitcoin is still kind of holding right there. Let's see if it continues to do that. I'm seeing some green. I'm seeing some red. Google is the most green right now. I guess everyone's going into that just because everything else is pretty questionable. You have VIX taking a hit today. So vol is calming down a little bit, but like I said, we are just range bound. Let's see which way it breaks. Lots of call selling on the Mag 7. Be careful here. This drop in Delta is call selling. There's a lack of bullishness for sure, which makes me concerned about the market holding this 50 level, because right now bulls are not stepping in. And on the S&P 500, no one's really touching anything right now. We're pretty much just going sideways. The market might be waiting for this PMI number. Let's see if they're bringing on our boy Rick Santilli. Stocks rebound Thursday, AI rut after the Fed's Williams revives rate cut hope. So it was his random commentary pumped the market, and I don't know if that's going to be enough to save it. So we are waiting, I guess, 1 or 2 minutes. We're making a little bit of a speed run here. I'm telling you, watch this 50 level. I think this is going to be the first real test of the day. First real test of how bullish and or bearish is this market. Watch 650. Watch it. It's like slight overshoot of the intraday low, 5 to 6 points, which if you're trading SPY is about 50 to 60 cents. But watch this 50 level. I have no idea will we bounce or break. All I could tell you is big money is positioned there, and it's going to care a lot about what happens. Look at how much this map's already changed today. That's actually kind of a dramatic change. Like, let me rewind to, I don't know, 9 this morning. That's how the map looked. We had negative gamma beneath, positive gamma above. Remember, positive gamma is sticky price action. Negative gamma is slippery price action.
Filled.
Jesus, what is happening? Well, I missed that trade. I don't know what happened. It must have taken the breakdown right here on, oh yeah, like I said, the breakdown on 200. So it took the exact trade that we're talking about. Made $200. Cool. All right, we're 2 trades in on the day. I haven't done any manual trades, but just explaining how this has changed. We have positive gamma above. That was sticky price action. Negative gamma below. That is slippery price action. So this is thought more so to be a bearish setup because if you crack, it can get bad. But once again, this changed quite a bit at market open due to OPEX. And I'm waiting for the next one to update. It updates in 10-minute increments. You can see we have a bit more positive gamma. Even over here, my head is kind of blocking it. You have a little bit of a positive.
Order submitted.
Jesus.
Target filled.
All right, we're 3 trades in, $300. 3 trades in, $300. All right, I'm telling you, the big watch, I don't know how to make this more apparent. Giant positive gamma node. Huge psychological level. A lot of people are positioned at 6,500. They've left a little bit this morning, and now it seems like we have more structural support at 6,475. These are the 2 key levels to watch if and only if we do not hold this zone here. We're coming up to a key level right now. Then we have yesterday's close and yesterday's low. And this is going to be that big test of the red to green. As in right now, we're green on the day. We're up 0.2%. By the time we get to this white line, that is break even on the day. Below it is where we officially go red. I'm thinking we might just bounce out of here, but I'm thinking we're going to do this green to red test. And then that's where things get a little bit spicy, and that's where things get a little bit fun. Did they bring on our boy Rick Santelli? Where's Rick?
I'm talking about
give us Rick or give us death.
You're going to get a multiple.
Yeah. But the question becomes that
give us Rick or give us death. The numbers came in, services slightly higher than expected, manufacturing slightly lower than expected. Okay, they were fine. Not going to be the biggest market movers, but I do want to remind you at 10 a.m. today, we are getting consumer sentiment. 10 a.m. consumer sentiment. Probably going to have a big, Bitcoin starting to fall. Folks, there's downward pressure. The NASDAQ has already gone red on the day, and we are going for that low. If you are playing NQ, I hope you are playing with appropriate size just because these ranges are crazy. But if you're like uniquely bearish and you're like, no, Matt, this is going to crack. One interesting target for you is the pre-market low, and that is right around 23,906. So remember, in the extended hours trading, I'm talking outside of regular trading hours, outside of RTH, when you look at those highs and lows, they're taken out 80 to 85 to 90% of the time, which means if you can catch the right trend, those are really good targets to have. So I just want to throw that out there that, yeah, you have technical support at 960, but then that pre-market low is around 906, 23,906, 23,960. So you might want to be watching that zone if you really think this is gonna flush. I know that's a big if, but I'm just trying to give out some reasonable technical targets backed by a little bit of stats, facts, and figures. So the Q is getting a little bit of a bounce right here. We did take out the, I guess, 15-minute Orbo and the 10-minute Orbo. The Q's finding some support at the closing value from yesterday. So buyers are stepping in right at that closing value. Even NVIDIA getting a little bit of a pop. Bitcoin getting a little bit of a pop. How's vol looking? VIX is picking up. be careful. Remember, there's commonly an inverse correlation between vol and price. This pop may be a little bit more interesting to dip by if vol is calming down. If vol is staying elevated, like if we keep seeing vol pick up, if it takes out 2650, that probably means we're going for that green to red test. But right now, things going a little bit haywire at 948. Was there any announcement? 948. I'm not seeing any news right now. Nothing's coming across the wire. Nothing is coming across the wire yet. Am I missing something, or is this just like the hectic nature of trading today? That seemed to be a pretty decent bounce, and I know there's Fed speakers talking right now. I just want to see if we're missing anything. Michael Saylor, NVIDIA, the whole world would have fallen apart if NVIDIA missed earnings. Yeah, bro, we know. We are well aware. Was there any breaking news? Fed Collins, that was an hour ago. That wouldn't be it. Williams comes on, and then suddenly everything's fine. What is this?
Bitcoin is like at 81, and you're looking at what I regard as being the single worst moment in this decline was the moment between 330 and 430, and then Williams comes on, and then suddenly everything's fine. I don't think so.
You don't think everything's fine?
No, there's a lot of people who have to get out. Let them get out. This is not what suddenly they wave a magic wand. We always have real issues. We have issues with the building out the data center unlimited. We have issues with a lot of.
So Kramer is saying that we're going to go lower, which kind of makes me wonder if I should be holding my puts anymore, because if Kramer is saying we're going lower, it kind of makes you wonder if we're about to rip to the high heavens. Is this the one play that Kramer is going to get right? That's not going to be possible, right? Right? Kramer is saying we're going lower. Is there a chance that this is the one time he gets something right? Time to go all in? That, in a weird way, it does really legitimately make me question if I should be in my puts right now. If Kramer, I don't want to be on the same side as Kramer, man. Like, it's making me a little bit hesitant here. All right, here's a look at the flow. Mag 7, slightly down, but no real crazy trend. And then looking at the S&P 500, we did take a hit, and then it popped there at 946, which is why I thought there was news, but I'm not finding any news. I do want to remind you, in 9 minutes, we do get the consumer sentiment report, so I'm kind of waiting for that to come out before I really do anything today. The flow on AMD today has not been good. Apple has actually been decently good. Avago all over the map. Coinbase slightly down, CoreWeave down, Robinhood messy, Microsoft slightly down, MicroStrategy up, Meta up and then giving a little bit back. Netflix is up. NVIDIA for today's expiration is flat, but for further out it is down. Oracle messy, Palantir slightly down but messy. Tesla is down, and Google is actually up. So today and also yesterday, it does definitely appear as if Google's been one of the strongest. Clearly, a standout in the face of the market, taking some pretty serious hits. Definitely a standout. The SPY got that pop, is currently holding. The pop itself was a put selling, potentially selling to open, potentially selling to close. It could be selling to close as in locking in profits. They don't think we're going to drop anymore. Or it could be selling to open as in they're putting in a floor. That would be putting in positive gamma beneath. But right here, the pop we just saw in the market and also in the delta related to put selling and maybe like the smallest amount of call buying. So I'm not really seeing anything too decisive yet. And if I really had to guess, we might just be waiting for this 10 a.m. consumer sentiment report. A little bit of a higher low there on Bitcoin, which makes tracking on an intraday basis for any of my active crypto traders, 94,155. That makes that an important pivot level. But really what I'm looking for, well, as I said, 50 was an important inflection point, and look at that. We dip right to it, bounce off of it. So at least on attempt number one, the bulls did defend it. or the bears got weak. Maybe that was them taking their profits, but we saw a little bit of a 25 point waterfall. We never tested going from green to red. We never tested the closing value, but people did react to the technical, psychological, and key options level of 50. So test number one, the bulls did win it. And look at that. We bounced right back up to resistance where we've been rejected all morning. So we're kind of just ping-ponging back and forth in this overall transition zone. This zone was mapped out before the market even opened. Obviously, it's just a basic measure of how market makers either need to react or not react. I just want to let you know, positive gamma above, negative gamma below. Positive gamma is denoted by mean reverting price action. There is a little bit of a wall at 600, a bigger wall at 6,630. I want to point that out. That looks like a call credit spread. But mean reverting, as in if we get going, it kind of turns into that slow, grindy price action. And then beneath us, we have negative gamma. And that's where if you start cracking support, that's where you just get those like pretty brutal sell-offs. But once again, hard to really do anything at this exact moment in time when we're not getting, I mean, the Mag 7 was weak, and then since 946, we're getting a bit of a pop. The S&P 500, same thing, flat, weak, and then got a pop at 946. So a minute and a half after those PMI numbers. So right now, I'm very content just sitting on my hands, not doing anything, because you just don't know which way this is really going to break. And especially in 5 minutes, we have this announcement coming out. If you're doing trades right now, hey, I wish you the best of luck. And whatever you decide to do, I just beg of you that you do it with like pretty tight risk and you are disciplined enough to adhere to your risk and you don't take on more leverage than you know you should be taking on. We just look at that. From 946 to 954, it took us 8 minutes to push an intraday low and then push a fresh intraday high. Like that tells you right there that we're just kind of all over the place. All over the place. Bitcoin is looking good. We're getting a nice recovery from 83.5 up to 85.5. So pretty much from market open until now, Bitcoin has had a nice $2,000 bounce, which is making me a little bit stoked, if I'm being completely honest, because I'm seeing some crypto come through. Shout out USDT, and then right here, XAUT. If you don't know what XAUT is, that's just basically backed by gold. Shout out to Chris, the founder, CEO, and really just the visionary of Rumble. Shout out to Chris and shout out to ATSKU. Once again, if you want to check out that Rumble wallet, it is now officially live on the Google Play Store. As in, if you have an Android, you can check it out. It's pinned to the top of chat. It's in the description of the video. And then, of course, if you have any questions or comments, you could always go to wallet.rumble.com/support. And as soon as you get your wallet, get it all set up, you're going to see this new feature where you can start to tip with crypto itself. As of right now, there are 3 different offerings in terms of like the crypto you can send. So check it out. I have a feeling it's going to be game changing. I'm getting a breakdown alert on Rigetti, the quantum computing play. So Rigetti, big pump. This was pretty much an orchestrated pump and dump by people who didn't understand what quantum computing is or isn't, and also failed to understand that the business model for it at this moment in time is more science fiction than reality. Anyway, big pump, pulls back, has a lower high, starts to crack the 50 EMA, pukes again, pops back up. This is where I got in, and now it seems as if we are off to the races to go lower. Here's a downside gap fill at 2213, and we're going to see how that goes. Qubits is another one, same thing. This whole sphere of quantum computing, I hope in the future they can maybe figure it out, but right now people just are having a grave misunderstanding of how strong this business sector either is or isn't. So Qubits, Rigetti, what's another one? IONQ, I want to say, and then I think there's another Q one, but you can see they all look the exact same because they're just being traded as like one giant group, but IONQ is also getting cracked here. It's going to be interesting if it takes out 40. Herein, slightly different. This is more of a hyperscaler play in one way or another associated with NVIDIA. It is slightly green on the day. Open is up 10%. I find that surprising. This is another pump and dump, but that has nothing to do with quantum computing or hyperscaler. This is just a wannabe real estate play that, I don't know, it's just being... Like I said, it's a legitimate pump and dump. Rumble Wallet beta is live on Android. Shout out Rumble Rick and MX Sisters. Oh, MX, it looks like you already got your wallet up and going. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Oh, and by the way, shout out to Rumble. So while the market's on tilt right now, Rumble's actually putting in a nice green day. Nice to see. SoFi, not looking the best. AMD, legit. If you're playing AMD, just so you guys know, I have no AMD position, but it is cracking this trend line. It is cracking the 50 EMA, and you have the downside gap fill to 170.68. I'm not saying it's going to be the easiest ride there, but that's actually, from a technical perspective, pretty reasonable to play. Apple is trying to hold on. Avago is attempting to hold on. Meta is trying to hold on. Microsoft is not holding on, and Microsoft, geez, if this is not a short-term thing, but if the whole tech sector starts to take a hit, Microsoft has a downside gap fill to 396.66. MicroStrategy putting in a rare green day. Rigetti getting hit, Qubits getting hit, Google all-time high yesterday, Palantir not looking the best. You have technical support at 148. Tesla, watch for the snap of 393, could set up an easy 10-point play to the downside. NVIDIA did hit this low from October the 22nd, bouncing a little bit right now, so we might as well move this down to the next low at 173. Bitcoin trying to hold on to 85. The 30-minute is getting a nice recovery. See if it can get above and hold above 86. It might get rejected in here and send it back down to 80.5, which is the recent low that we saw.
Orders to target filled.
Bots trading. All right, 400. We're up 400, team. All right, get ready. Consumer sentiment report is about to come out. Consumer sentiment is coming out in 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Consumer sentiment is out. Market liked it at first. Market's liking it. Will it hold, though? Consumer sentiment, positive. What are they saying in consumer sentiment? That definitely caused a pump. Will it hold, though? Are they bringing on our boy Rick? What does Rick have to say about it? Look at that pop. 10 a.m. Consumer sentiment had to be good, folks. Report just came out at 10 a.m. and we went from 559 all the way up to 70. We pumped 11 points in 30 seconds. The S&P 500 moved in an entire dollar. The question is, will the pump hold? Right here. Came out at 10. We went from 59, skyrocketed to 70. That's a full dollar in the SPY. And now let's see if we can hold. If they fade this, not good. Wait, give us Rick.
Sarah Eisen has the morning off. Markets trying to take the edge off of what's basically a 3% loss for the week. 6% or so
they faded the whole thing already. That whole pump they already faded.
Fed speak, which actually has the 10-year a little bit lower, down to 407. Today, Bitcoin's under pressure again, now pacing for the worst week since 22, down more than 30% since the record high in October. We'll talk about
consumer sentiment profit. What was it?
Market. Tech's having a rough week.
Oh,
as you know,
and the Michigan numbers came out.
Hitting record high.
Hang on. Shout out to Profit. Michigan 1-year inflation 4.5, expected 4.7. 5-year inflation 3.4, expected 3.6. Consumer sentiment was 51, and they expected a little bit less. So technically, they were all better than expected. The Michigan, oh, hang on. Is this our boy Rick?
Really good news here.
There's our boy Rick.
Michigan,
there he
November
is, that
final
dapper
reads.
guy.
And 50.3 on the headline was our mid-month read. That was pretty much one of the close to the all-time low, which was 50, and this comes in at 51.0. So it moves
NASDAQ
up,
getting clocked.
but it's still quite weak
Bitcoin
in the
turning.
grand scheme of history. Now, if we look at
not
current,
good to get a good report and it sells off anyway. That is not good.
51.1, and that is a new low. If we look at the expectations, what may lie ahead, it actually improved a bit.
NASDAQ is making a bum rush for the low from yesterday.
51 would be the best read, well, just in September when we were at 51.7. So mixed bag, but at least all three, just like we had S&P
making a
Global,
bum rush
are
for
above
yesterday's low.
50. Now, if we look at the inflation side, 4.5 replaces 4.7. 4.5 equals July. To find a lower one, you're going to February of this year.
Qs are getting cracked.
And finally,
we're about to take out the low from yesterday.
Inflation rates, it moves from 3.6
That's not
to
good.
3.4. 3.4 would be the
Tesla's
lowest,
cracking its
second
shelf.
lowest of
Next
the year
target
outside of
is
3.2, which was
382,
January.
383.
So not bad. We see that yields aren't responding much It's mixed on actually the numbers themselves. On inflation, that is an improvement very quickly.
Buckle up,
Inventories,
Buttercup.
wholesale, August final read moves
Buckle
from
up,
minus
Buttercup.
0.2
This
up
is
to
about to
0.
get saucy.
And on sales, that's a fresh
This
August
is
number.
about to
Kind of
get
old.
saucy.
Final last month was 1.3. This is only up 0.1%. That would be the weakest on the sales side since it was down 0.4 in
wow.
May. Very quickly, we're hovering at 350 in a two-year. Two-year close yesterday at 353. Last week at 361. And on that 10-year, you referenced 406 for the session is down 3. 415 last week is where we settled. And percentages, we're hovering in the high 60%.
Here's some
for a
USDT.
D-cut.
Shout out Rumble
David,
Rick.
Back to you.
Rick, thank you.
All right.
Let's get to Bitcoin now. The crypto sell-off
What do they have to
continuing,
say?
touching the lowest levels that we've seen.
We just took out the closing value and the low value on the Qs. Are buyers going to step in?
Hey, David.
Mag
so
7
before
Delta
bouncing
puke.
off session lows this morning, Bitcoin
S&P
was
500
pacing
is currently
for its worst
holding.
month since the crypto collapse of 2022.
Target filled.
More than $2 billion in leveraged crypto bets were wiped out in the past 24 hours, and the big institutional buyers, at least so far, have not been stepping in. U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF saw their second worst day of outflows since launching nearly 2 years ago. And this isn't just a knock-on effect from
That's
macro
not what you wanna
headwinds and
hear.
concerns that we won't get a Fed
5 minutes
rate
cracking.
cut.
10
The
minutes
sell-off actually
cracking.
traces back to a flash
Target
crash in
filled.
early October on U.S.-China trade tensions. That was triggered when a major stablecoin lost its dollar peg, sparking a $19 billion liquidation cascade that broke the crypto market's core plumbing. Those key market makers who act like the central banks of crypto never fully recovered. They have been pulling back, shrinking balance sheets, and that has made liquidity razor thin. Even modest selling can now move the market in a big way. Open interest in perpetual futures, a key gauge of leverage, has dropped 35% since October. And that signals traders are either too spooked to re-engage or simply tapped out. And you've seen that sell-off spread to the digital asset treasury names like Strategy and Tom Lee's BitMine Immersion, both sharply lower.
Tom Lee's BMNR is getting destroyed right now. It's
and a note
down
this morning warning
billions
that
of dollars.
Bitcoin's collapse in spending power amounts to the equivalent of 800% annualized
That was a 100-point
inflation.
bounce right there.
And of course,
That's
last time we saw a cascade like this was
$2,000 per
2022,
contract.
and that ended with the collapse
And
of
we did
FTX.
that in a minute and a half.
Mac, I'm curious. We've seen a whole slew of crypto regulations this
Wow.
year. Have they done anything to maybe stem some of, potentially further to the downside that we could see here, or have they had any
ranges are
impact
incredible.
on, as you mentioned, the central
This
bankers?
represents
for the
thousands of
crypto
dollars
universe?
per contract.
So earlier this year, we had that
incredible.
Genius Act passed into law, and that really opened the door to people wanting to launch stable coins, and so provided hard and fast rules from Capitol Hill, which was
All
a
right,
net
we
benefit
once
to the industry.
again,
And
for
of
the
course,
second
stablecoins
time
are the
today,
main,
bounced off of
proxy
550.
that those
We
institutional
might be going
traders
back up to
will
70
use, and
right
those
here.
corporate holders in the
Watching
crypto
that.
space when they're moving money around.
just
So that was
overall
certainly
range-bound right in
an
this
upside to
transition
the trade
zone.
over the summer. But since then, we've been waiting for the crypto market infrastructure bill, and that's really what has been, holding back banks from being
Mag
able to
7
custody cryptocurrency, something that was
popping
technically made
since
possible when the
10:02.
SEC rolled back
S&P
SAB
500
121,
popping
this
since
niche accounting bulletin,
946.
but people have still been on the sidelines because they want more direct, more direct rules from Capitol Hill saying that that's fine. And what I'll say is, in terms of
We
where
keep
that
saving
stands,
ourselves
we're getting
right before
markups
it
from
tilts into
Congress
negative
in December,
delta right
but
here.
it's been pushed into
Negative
Q1
gamma.
of 2026, and people were really hoping to get that bill passed into law by the end of the year.
Mac, appreciate that. Such an important story. A
I guess
lot of
they're
things
not bringing
revolving
Rick
around at
back
the
on.
moment. That's from Mackenzie Sagalas. Our next guest is bullish on Bitcoin and the broader market, too, despite this week's
He's
downturn.
bullish?
Joining us this morning is Eric Johnston, Chief Equity and Macro Strategist at Cantor Fitzgerald. Eric, good to see you.
Who's
Thanks for the
this
help
guy?
today.
From Cantor.
We have seen some discussion this morning about positive seasonality starts about now. Obviously, a taste of what dovish Fed speak can do. Is that sort of your year-end thesis?
We just bounced 250
It is. I mean, there's been
points
a significant
in like
amount
3
of
minutes.
concern
That's
around
crazy,
the AI
dude.
build-out. Obviously, there's a lot
These
of real
ranges are
questions that are
nuts.
being asked around, the cost of the build-out, the cost per token, and the revenue that can be generated from it. And
5
with
minute
any
trying to
sort
save
of
itself,
historic
10 minute trying to save
technological
itself.
revolution, there's going to be periods
Right now, the
of
market's getting
euphoria,
pressured to the
and there's
downside,
gonna
but
be
it is
periods
putting up a
of
fight.
Fear, because there's a lot that's not knowable since it's only happened, once. And so we are currently in the period of extreme fear. We entered this situation with, leverage in the system, both in Bitcoin and in the equity markets in different ways. A lot of crowding in some of the high-flying AI names. And so there's been a significant P&L hit, and there's been
Order
a significant de-risking that has occurred, and it's now gotten into a place that we think we can now rally into year end, and the setup is much cleaner. You've had the put call ratio spike, you've had the VIX curve go inverted, a VIX spike, you've had a number of signals to us that we are in the short-term bottoming process.
Right. On Bitcoin specifically, the drawdown's about 36%, but past drawdowns, 78, 55, 84, 78, 41. Why can't it be as bad as that?
So I think the structural part of Bitcoin, the ownership of Bitcoin, is very different from what it was then. There's been a institutionalization, right? There's a lot more institutions that own Bitcoin. Stablecoin has emerged. There's been legislation. So that has reduced, although we're not seeing it right now, it has reduced the volatility.
I didn't like it
overall.
Quite yet, so that's why I took it off.
So
Locked
I
in
think
200 per account.
Stem some of the decline relative to what we have seen historically. But as you said, these getting a de-risk in something that doesn't have earnings, doesn't have a PE ratio.
Bot traded that drop.
Is much more, there's definitely some speculation in there, can cause these types of dips. But I think the backdrop of easy money going forward, the Fed cutting, we see likely QE in 2026, all these things should be very favorable for Bitcoin.
The question is this a higher low, or are we just rolling
is
over
that you would have
right
been
now?
safer in T-bills, not just for the year, but going back to late 21.
This is getting a little bit boring. They're talking on like kind of a larger time frame. I just want you to know the Mag 7 took a big hit at 9:55, plummeted to 10:02, little bit of a reversion, and now we're trying to figure out what in the world we're going. I mean, just these ranges are incredible. Big drops, big pops, big drops. Like if you're on the right side of it, you can make so much money so quickly, but it's very dangerous if you're on the wrong side of it. I should have shorted this here at 56, risking 78. I would already have my stop at break even, and I would just be riding this. Obviously, if you're playing Apex or Fund and Futures Network, you would be targeting probably 74 for your first scale out. I missed that. The bot caught it right here. The bot's up 800. I was a little slow. I mean, you could see I did one trade right here. I was aggressively moving the stop just because of how big these ranges are, and I feel like the only way to really theoretically survive these are to be extremely tight with your risk, because if you can catch it, great, it's a big flush. But if you're wrong, I mean, even here, let's just say you were arbitrarily short around 40, that pumped almost 40 points against you. That's $800. This pump right here is it's almost 1,000. Oh, if you're taking this breakdown at 11, I don't hate it. Obviously, your risk is 35. Unless you're playing really small, then you could risk it all the way up to 78. You're looking for the crack of 100. I would have preferred the bounce to be a little bit stronger, hence why I didn't get in. But you could also argue we're playing the trend line rejection right here. We connect these lower highs. It pops up, gets rejected. Once again, be very, very disciplined about your risk today. You should be very disciplined about your risk any day, obviously. But this is a day like more than normal that like if you're on the wrong side of it, especially if you're on the wrong side of it with size, like, I mean, just look at these ranges. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts.
Order submitted.
The bot just traded again,
Target
I think.
filled.
All right. Somehow got a fill. Oh, this short here, I don't know if it's worth it or not. I'm really going back and forth. I'm really going back and forth on what I like and what I don't like today. I mean, the 1 minute ATR is 48 points. The 1 minute ATR is $1,000 per NQ contract. How insane is that? If you're looking on the 500 tick, it's 25 points, so it's 500
Order
bucks.
submit. Target filled.
The bot's going crazy. The bot made 1,000. Wow. Rigetti just got a little bit clipped. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. All right, Mag 7 is down. S&P 500 is flat. S&P is attempting to hold right here. We're just back at that 50 level. This is the third major test of this level. Maybe the Bulls win it this time. Maybe the Bears win it this time. All I could tell you is the last two times it proved to be pretty impactful. All I could tell you is it proved to be very impactful. NVIDIA, Bitcoin just cracked that low. So this is that microphone pattern of higher highs and lower lows. We just made a fresh low after making highs. That just shows you the expansive vol. The Qs are pushing once again for the second time today below their closing value from yesterday. I wonder if I should have gotten in on this. It's just so tough today because I'm still trading a mini. I should have probably gone over to micros. I'm torn on how I want to handle this because the SPY is right on top of that breakdown. It is.
Order submitted. Target filled.
Do I want to take a stab at it? Yeah.
Order submitted.
I'm risking the recent high to see if I can catch the flush. I don't know if it's going to flush this one. The SPX has kept catching bounces. I might get caught up in a bounce here.
Order filled. Order submitted.
Wow. Just to get fucking knocked like that.
Target filled. Order submitted.
I'm going to give it another try. I just don't know which one it's going to crack on. That's a horrible fill. My fill was off by 12 points. Shit. Not good. That was such a bad fill. I'm turning the bot off. That's made enough money on the day. It's made $1,200. Fuck. I'm trying to give it a little bit more room, but I'm also trying to be reasonable about like if I'm wrong to get out when I'm wrong. Oh, it's going to knock me out. It's going to knock me out. Shit.
Order filled.
Dude, it's going to flush on one of these. It's just a question of when, and I'm being a little bit boneheaded by playing it on a mini instead of a micro. Like, even look at that. It flushed. It just wicked me out. I probably should have been patient and waited for this entry at 23 rather than trying to chase it down. I guess, like, that worry of like, oh, like I don't want to miss it, like that type of a thing. I'm still keeping it in control. I'm only trading one. There is an argument to downsize to 5 micros. That was probably a better entry right there at 24. The bot's been slicing it up. The new and improved. This is like version 3 of the bot. I actually turned it off 1200 on the day. It's just trying to get on the right side of the trade. Dude, these ranges are so insane today. That was the entry right there. I got in on this one thinking, oh, we wicked up. It's going to get hit and then plummet. It's really, really hard to specifically time it. And then if you're trying to give it a little bit of leeway, a little bit of time, you just don't know. You don't know what's good risk. Because like right there, it could have just kept going and I'd rather take the hit than lose my accounts, obviously. But let's see. Don't stop the bot. I needed to because of the consistency rule. It made basically enough money because on Funded Futures Network, there's the 40% consistency. Jeez. I knew it. I knew it just wicked me out. Fuck. There it goes. Dude, I like if I just waited for the next pump, I got in on this pump. It was the very next one. That's going to sting. That's gonna, dude, just barely wicked out. It overshot that. If I just, dude, that's that woulda, coulda, shoulda. That was the woulda, coulda, shoulda. I attempted. I skipped the third one and it worked anyway. Fuck, dude, that's painful. That's gonna be one you wish you had back. That hurts. That just hurts. Like, that hurts your soul. Wicked got in, wicked out, got in, gave it a little bit more room, wicked out anyway. And the one I got wicked out on, it just plummeted from there. Do I share the code for my bot? No. Why would I do that? That's a bummer. That's a bummer. Hey, that's trading. That is trading for you. I knew I was playing it a little bit dangerous because like there could have been one extra pop in here. I was trying to play this crush here. It popped one extra time and then it went. I was slightly off. And I could have obviously given it more room or more risk. It's just these ranges are so incredible that I probably should have played it with really to criticize, like a fair criticism was I was on the right side of it. I played with trend. It was a good entry, but my sizing was off. The argument is the range at that moment was so large that I probably should have been trading 5 micros instead of 1 mini, which is half the size. That's a me issue, folks. That was on me. That's on me. And look at that. Look at that pump right out. Dude, these ranges are getting so crazy. So the bulls are stepping in to try to stop this from disaster right here. We cracked it. We made a fresh low, basically bounced off the closing value from yesterday. And from there, we went from 41 all the way up to 54. We just bounced like no other. I mean, look at this. This is why you need to trail it aggressively. NQ went from 45 up to 145. That's a $2,000 swing like it's nothing. That's why I was trying to be so aggressive about my stop, because you don't want to get caught up and all of a sudden it just quickly pops 100 points against you and then you're down 2K. Like I said, if you're on the right side of it, you can be making a lot of money very, very quickly. But remember, that is going to cut both ways. So had I don't know, withstood this one, which I don't think I should have. I still think I made the right decision because this is proof. What if it popped and just went a quick 100 points? Like at a certain point, you have to protect yourself. And it's unfortunate that I protected myself and it went my way anyway. Like that's just a bummer. That's a part of trading. And it's basically just don't let that get you tilted. Oh, that was a decent short there at 21. Risking 50, you could have risked 600. I probably should have taken that short. This breakdown here, risking that wick, I could already move my stop to break even, trail it to 109 and see if I could catch it. I missed that. I guess maybe I'm a little bit gun shy right now because I don't want to lose those new PA accounts, and I'm trying to see if I could get in with like super minimal risk. But on a day like today, minimal risk seems to be a very difficult thing to get. It seems like, damn, I would already be up 60 points. I would already be back to break even on the day had I gotten in right there, risking this. That was a nice 1 minute rejection. Oh man, today's trading is not for the faint of heart. It is definitely not. These are some crazy ranges. So your option is to either not trade it. You could take this short right here. Obviously, your risk is 100. That's a 40-point risk. It seems large if you ask me. If I'm wrong, I would lose my new PA account, so I don't feel like doing it. But that's an acceptable trade right there. That breakdown at 65, risking 98. You're risking about, 35 points, 33 points, depending on your slippage of when you get in. Oh, wow. This is turning out to be crazy. All right, we quickly try to save it, got rejected at the cloud, and we are now once again pressing this green to red movement. We are testing the closing value from yesterday. That trade, obviously, if you took this trade, you could either now risk 74 or you can move your stop to break even. Obviously, that is up to you. This was the perfect entry right here at 1020. This breakdown, pump, first red bar, indecisive, breaks down, you're short at 20, you were risking 47, your stop went to break even on the first puke. On this pump and the fail, you move it down to 98 no matter what, guaranteeing yourself 20 points. On this puke, you could probably move it to 74 and you just got knocked out. Congrats, you just made 50 points. That would be $1,000. Congrats to you. You just made 50 points. It would have been $1,000. Oh, 96. If it exceeded 100, I would have taken that trade. I just don't like that it undershot the level. Dude, this is not an easy day. Look at these ranges, man. We just went from 27 to that was 100 points in a couple seconds. Like, you have to appreciate how fucking nuts this is. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Look at that. Saved itself. That second test of the obviously of going from green to red. The bounce right here is right off that closing value from yesterday. Right off that bounce. All right. I know we're talking about a lot of stuff, but I do want to remind you today is a Payday Friday. We're giving away 10 prop accounts and $150 cold hard cash. It is free for all of you to enter. All you have to go to is pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video, or go to my Twitter page. But anyway, like, retweet, and follow, and you will be in. We're giving away 10 prop accounts, 5 on Apex, 5 on Funded Futures Networks. Just come and you're going to be in. And then obviously all the winners are going to be in a marble race, and the winner of the race will be getting $150 cold hard cash. We will be doing that at some point in today's show. It kind of just depends on how crazy the market either is or isn't. But look at these. Look at that 5-minute wick right there. Look at that. That's just, this is nuts. We're also bouncing off of this trend line that we kind of had from pre-market on the Qs. That's right where we wick to after breaking the close and breaking. Wow. This is just, it's nuts, man. It's insanity. These ranges are just disgusting. All right, we cracked that. On Bitcoin, you might now want to watch, I don't know, somewhere around 83.4, 83. Yeah, I would just say you're watching now 83,000 if you're playing Bitcoin. Look at that pump. Holy crap, dude. NQ just went from 24,027 to 20. That was 150 point. That's a $3,000 pump right there per NQ contract. That's just like, this is why you have to aggressively trail today, because even if you have a nice trade, it can turn around in seconds. Aggressively trail, size down, do whatever you need to survive. Wow, look at these pumps. We just pumped 175 points right there. We bottomed at 27, up to 200, a little bit. Yeah, 175 point bounce in 2.5 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Wow. Wow. This is crazy. Absolute insanity what is going on right now. What's crazier is this isn't necessarily like the most insane it's been. Like, we've all seen crazier times too. Like, granted, this is getting up there. I'm not saying this is like a walk in the park and we've been here before. It's somewhat of a rarity, but just think it can get more insane than this. And we saw in April of this year that it can get more insane than this. I don't mind this breakdown trade here at 56. Your risk is 76. I don't mind it because it's only 20 points. And to be able to only risk 20 points on a day like today does seem like a pretty nice win. It does. And at this point, obviously, move your stop to break even. So you're short at 55. You were risking 75. Your stop's now at break even, and you're already up 40 points. And you're praying for this breakdown of this low at 87. And before you know it, you might be up a full 100 points. But this little structure right here, completely it pump, showed a little bit of a reversion, got cracked. You're shorting the crack with the overall trend. Stop is at break even, and you're just, the name of the game today is to see if you can catch the capitulation. You're just trying to do it without getting blown out on the other side, which is why you have to be super aggressive with your management. This is just wild, absolutely wild today. The real bummer is my trades would have worked too. I was in roughly around 15. Damn. That would have been $1,000 gain, and I could have been done on the day had I just been a little bit later, anywhere from like 1 to 2K gain. And instead I got wicked out. Then it went my way. I was really close to taking that one. I didn't just because the risk was a bit farther away. I saw that 100. That was a $700 risk, and that would have been putting those other ones. Like, I would have had to hit this trade or those accounts would have been fucked. The new accounts would have been fucked. But maybe I shouldn't be trading that way. Maybe I should be trading with the main accounts, and then if the other accounts survive, they survive. Someone said manipulation. Dude, it's not manipulation. Whenever people are wrong on their trades, they love to bitch and moan about manipulation. And when then they're right, they love to say, hey, this is like how it was supposed to go. It's not manipulation. We're talking about one of the most liquid, most deep products of all time. We're talking about the NASDAQ 100, and you think it's manipulation? Do you know how many trillions of dollars you would need to manipulate this? The swings are insane. Yeah, the name of the game today is seemingly survive the swings. And honestly, this is probably a good day. Remember, this is your final day. Like, if you are trying to pass an Apex account today, it is comically simple today. It is comically simple today. This is your final trading day to do it. You have 3 days left. Code Goonie. All you need, if you're on a 50K account, all you need, you can max it out, 10 contracts. You just need a 16-point move in your favor, and you're going to pass the test. Like, this is one of the easiest days ever to pass. It feels, how does it feel like manipulation? Because people are selling? I don't understand when people say it feels like manipulation. What are you feeling? Is the manipulation in the room with you? Like, what does that mean? It sounds like you're just trying to say you just don't like the way that it's going, and you're calling that manipulation. Matt, did you get the second live crypto tip in Rumble history you sent first to Viva? I didn't send it to Viva, but he was the first one. I was the second one. And then I have the cool, I guess, accolade of being the first person to ever buy Bitcoin on Rumble's wallet. But yeah, Viva is very much a supporter and a proponent, not only of Rumble, but specifically of this Rumble wallet. So we've been doing some stuff together on it, which is why we were in Lugano together. Not if algos are making the bids can have an influence for sure. What are you talking? How's that manipulation? They're allowed to buy or sell. Why is that like a big deal in your book? Hope this doesn't end like yesterday. I do. I'll make a lot of money. Look at these movements. The SPY went from 52.50 to 56 back down. Like, this is just, it's crazy to watch. Someone asked for the next support on Nvidia. I have 173, and then below that 168. Nvidia is getting cracked, Tesla's getting cracked, Palantir is getting cracked, Google's holding on, Qubits is getting cracked, Rigetti is getting cracked, MicroStrategy is getting cracked, Microsoft is getting cracked. Meta's attempting to hold on. Bitcoin's trying to hold 83. Below 83, I think we return back to 80. Wow. What is this chaos? Wow. This is just nuts. It's really trying to save itself on top of the closing value from yesterday. Like, we've bounced now multiple times, and the NASDAQ is trying to save itself on this upsloping trend line right here that we've had since pre-market. The 525 to the 725 low, we're right at that trend line. So both the NASDAQ and the SPY are at key support levels. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, do we bounce or break? I don't know. That's what we're attempting to find out. That is 100% what we're trying to figure out of, are the bulls going to step in or are the bears going to break through? And you just don't know, because whether we bounce or break is dependent on what people are about to do. So unless you know in aggregate what everyone is about to do in the market, you have no idea if this is going to bounce or break. But what we do know is that it's a key level. And at key levels, we pay attention and we see if we could take advantage of the trend with reasonable risk to reward. But I do want to point out the 5-minute is kind of going bearish. The 10-minute, it's kind of neutral. It's like right on the bear side, but it's not far away from testing. So it's not making me the most confident right now. The S&P 500 on the 30-minute is bearish, and the 4 you know what, let's just move that there, and we'll move that there just for the 4 hour, just to see some of these key levels. Looking at the Nasdaq, the 5 minutes bearish, the 10 minutes a bit more bearish than the SPY, the 30 minute, we're seeing some of these levels, and same thing. Let me update this here. The 4 hour, we're just kind of chopping right now after that big hit yesterday. But what I'm kind of watching here is the 10 minute on ES not going to be able to recover. So if you're watching ES, you could watch, we'll call it 575. Technically it's 573. It's just, are we actually going to crack and then go down about 40 points to where we were around 7:30 this morning before John Williams was talking? This pump that we faded about 50% of it is all because of the New York Fed president, John Williams, at 7:30 this morning, basically was saying, yeah, we're probably going to get a 25 bips rate cut. That's why. And now it's the question of, does the market actually believe him or not? Oh, fuck. I think I missed another good one. That was a good breakdown trade right there. I missed it. I had my thumb up my ass. I could have been short at 56, risking 86, 30 points, $600. I would be willing to accept that today. Stop's already at break even. Oh, maybe we get another fake out pump. Based on the momentum, and maybe we should check options flow before I do this. Mag 7 options flow is down. S&P 500 options flow is attempting to hold on. Attempting. It's just, how many more shots do I have? That one didn't pump enough for me. That's an acceptable short though. 30, you're risking 52. You take on 22 points of risk. On the flush below 24,000, you can move your stop to break even, and hopefully you catch the flush. I really don't have much wiggle room. I do on the big accounts, as in the ones that have more buffer. I just don't have much wiggle room on these guys. Maybe it comes to 24,000 and then maybe we bounce off of it. Maybe it bounces into 60 or 70 and I could short into that. It's just tough with these ranges today. It's extraordinarily... Oh, the SPY just got cracked. Look at that delta. Just puked. We might be... Okay. Below 6,520 is where we could tilt into negative gamma. All right, we did crack 24,000. I wouldn't mind some sort of pop-up, like I said, 50, 60, 70. If that fails, maybe I could go short into that. I mean, I've been trying to throw a short on all day. It's just I'm trying to get in a short with like acceptable risk, and then that's proving to be the difficult part right now, is being able to execute the trade with, oh, SPY cracked the low, Q's cracked the low. Should I check my swing positions? Dude, my swing positions are fucking rocking. Qubits, 120%. Rigetti 107, SPX 24, IRIN 70, NMSTR 47. Dude, my swing positions are printing. 12, 22, 30, 37, 41K unrealized. It's just a skyrocket right here. I missed it. This was the dump. Fuck. Dude, I was trying, you guys saw me trying to play this dump the whole time. It was just the size of these risks. It was just too big. Fuck, dude. That's a painful one. I was trying to take advantage of that the entire time. The bot got it. I just didn't do it. The bot got it from a lot of short scalps. I was trying to play a medium-term short swing, and I just couldn't handle the heat. I couldn't handle the heat. Those pops were too crazy, and it cost me. And now we cracked that trend line on the 5 minute on NQ, and the SPY is testing right now. The SPY is NVIDIA is going. Jesus. All right. Like I said, if you're trading NQ, it is very reasonable for you to play the pre-market low, which is about 50 points below where we are. We hit this low 904. 904. We technically hit the pre-market high right there at 950, and 30 minutes later, it seems like we're making a bum rush. Once again, this is the pre-market low. Reasonable to scale out a little bit there because it's also aligning with an important psychological level. Wow. Well, I don't know. I feel torn. My Apex accounts are fine. Well, the new ones aren't. I don't know what to make of it because my swing accounts are crushing right now. Look at those. 126, 122, 25, 69, 52. I'm actually almost in the money. All right, for those of you curious about the key levels, this is how I see it. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. This is how I see it. We opened up in the transition zone, really had a tough time breaking up or down, finally just cracked down. We took out the low, we took out the close. I'm expecting at least an attempt at a reversionary bounce. And then if that fails, I'm looking at 15. Is that still important even? No, it's not. We're just talking 500 flat. All right, hang on. Let me delete this. It was important at one point in pre-market trading. People were positioned there, but there's been enough trades today that you can see. And actually, did they roll their position? Yeah, the people aren't even playing. So 500 was a bigger level of defense, but you can see from when did they drop it? At market open. Maybe 950, 20 minutes into the trading day, these sold puts got dropped and they were down to 75, but we have new support at 450. 450 is legitimately in the cards today, folks. I don't want to be a negative Nancy or Debbie Downer, but I'm just pointing out what I'm seeing on the chart, and 450 is 12,000 sold. Like, that's where the support's at, and then there's some aggressive players all the way down at 400. But the 500 player has now pretty much disappeared, not fully, but 90%. The support at 475 is starting to wane, and the major support as of now is 450 on SPX, as in this level, as in 1% drop from here, which for the market is brutal. Absolutely brutal. But we're still climbing. We're still climbing. How the fuck? I think iron is cracking, which is good for me. Yeah, it just cracked that low. All right. Next one. Open IONQ. IONQ is also cracking. Oracle, dude, what's doing? Rum is green. Open is somehow green. Netflix is somehow green. Apple's green. Google's green. Qubits. MSTR is getting slaughtered. Big support at 157. I told you. Tesla, I made this call out. The crack 94. Your target is 83. He's going for that. Bitcoin not holding 83. Jeez Louise. Playing the pre-market low at 905 is still a very live play. It's just how in the world can I take advantage of it? I'm just trying to not lose my new accounts. My bigger accounts I'm fine on. I have enough buffer to play this multiple times. I just wonder if I should play it separately. Or maybe I cross-trade them and play it. How can I possibly play this without blowing these accounts out? I think I have to ratio. All right, let's see if I could set up the trade copier to do this properly. So I'm going to try to trade MNQ on these 5, on the 5 to save them. 400. Even that, dude, even trading him at half sides, these ranges are so brutal. Is this going to fail? I think I have the copier now set up properly, at least. So the newer accounts that don't have as much buffer, I should have done this from the start, but it's probably more appropriate to trade micros on them instead of one mini. I'm going to trade 5 micros, and hopefully we catch enough of a move that it gets me back to being green on the day. Maybe a rejection here at 400. Saving itself a little. Here's a look at the flow. The Mag 7 puked until about 1040. We're getting a little bit of an upswing. S&P 500 puked until about 1037. Little bit of an upswing. The upswing is a little bit of call buying, more so of put selling. And we're still moving so many points so incredibly quickly. Saving ourselves at that trend line on the SPY, but not so much on the Qs. Bitcoin's right at that breakdown line. Mag 7 showing a little bit of life. Look at those puts. Wow, dude. I'm just astonished by these moves. Astonished. Well, I think this goes without saying, but we don't really need those. It's kind of a situation of look out below if we crack these lows. However, we might always rebound. Just because things are looking brutal right now doesn't mean that big buyers don't step in and then we rip it and too many people are tilted into puts and then they get blown out and then there's a Vanna rally. Be prepared for everything, and that's why it's just the name of the game is like, can you get into whatever you perceive to be the trend, but with minimal risk? You don't want to just get in and be like, nope, has to work. That is, as a person who's done that many times, it is the telltale way you could just get absolutely murked. Absolutely murked. Is AMD going for the October 6th gap fill? I have no idea. How would anyone know that? All right, a little bit of a 5-minute reversion. Are we going to take this out, or is it going to get slapped? Oh, like I said, I'm a little gun shy, but whenever that happens, at the end of the day, you have to stick to the system. You have to follow the system. Wow, look at that. 406. Like, we're just going 40 points. We're going 50 points like it's nothing, folks. We're going... Look at that. Just one bar. We went from 400 to 456. That's that's a 1,000-point pump. 1,000-point pump. And it didn't even really crack anything. It was just a little pullback, a little pump. Like, that's just nuts. It is crazy. I'm wondering if I should still try to go short, but I'm watching this flow, and we do have a little bit of an uptrend starting around 1040. Just to let you guys know, I have not forgotten about the fact we're doing Payday Friday. It's just right now, I guess I'm so insanely fascinated with what's happening in the market, and I assume many of you are, which is why we're kind of watching it. But yes, we're still doing the Payday Friday. It's going to happen at some point today. I'm just waiting for maybe a point of peace and quiet in the market, which I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll do it. Anyway, we're giving away 10 prop accounts, $150 of cold hard cash, pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. All you have to do is like, retweet, and follow. So if you have an X account, a Twitter account, it is free for you guys to get involved. Just like, retweet, and follow. And if you don't have a Twitter account, I don't know, go make a Twitter account, but you have time. You have time. You have time. All right. How are we looking on the initial balance? All right. So the bottom of it, so the initial balance high and low is this red and the red line. The blue line is the 50% retracement. So basically, we just horrifically, we bounced off of it. Actually, that was a big bounce from 27 up to, I mean, Jesus, that's a 60-point bounce. And then from 85, we plummeted all the way down, 160 points. We double bottom right back up. So right now we're battling it out at the bottom of the first hour low, aka the initial balance. IB, short for initial balance, is the first trading hours high and low. And apparently we are making a legitimate fight. So if we take out 86, maybe you're watching 134, maybe you're watching 160. But I'm curious if we're coming back to IB. And if we do come back to it, is going to flush below, like right here. Does it just want to retest 27? 27 seems to be the IB low. First test of it right here at 10:30 and 22 seconds made a pretty good bounce. Second test of it, we tried to bounce a little bit. It was a big vomit, double bottom, recovery. And now the question is, does it really want to be above IB? A crack below 24,000 is not only a recent structural low, but it also happens to be just below the IB. So that could get a little bit saucy. That could get a little bit saucy. So let's just watch this. What do we just kind of have this? Oops, I did not mean to do that. Remove. Wow, what craziness has happened today. All right, so we have a pretty nice uptrend at the moment, as you can see here, just connecting all these. The most insane thing is the fact that I could state that this could pump 200 points and then we could still be selling off. Like, how ridiculous is that? We're struggling seemingly at 85 right here. We topped it. We're running into a bit of a wall. I don't know if it's going to break or not. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't tagged 100. Just seems like a level people would be naturally looking at. Oh, and speaking of which, speak of the devil, just so you know, 136, that is VWAP. So maybe this is a quick little VWAP retest. The volume weighted average price, it's roughly right here. And then not far beyond that is the 50% retracement on the initial balance. So around 135 where my cursor is, that's VWAP, pretty much this high over here from 1027. And then past that, you have the IB 50%. Are we going to hit it? Are we not going to hit it? This has been an insane day. An insane day. I'm hoping it's a fake out. We're going to find out. I mean, hoping as much as we all do it, it's not going to get you that far. As I will drill into everyone's mind, this is exclusively a game of risk and reward. Are we undershooting VWAP? Are they not even going to hit it? We struggled at 24,100. VWAP is up here at 36. Oh, bookmap. Where is the point of control? Google going for it again. Close over 300 maybe. Probably not if the market is looking horrible. If the market bounces, that's a different story. All right, so VWAP is 35, 36, which we're not far away from. The point of control is all the way up at 200. So VWAP is 35, point of control is 200, and the initial balance 50% retracement is at 62. So we have, I know it's a large region, it's 70 points, but we have some interesting points to, I suppose, at least pay attention to. If this cracks this recent low and we just on the 5-minute put in a lower high, I would say that's pretty bad, because cracking this low also means we're taking out the closing value on the SPY again. If we take out the 1045 low, could be a problem. We're right at initial balance again. So we're getting rejected off the 100. We puked 75 points. Oh, how degenerate do I want to be today? I unfortunately don't have the most room on the new PAs. On the other ones, I'm fine, which I guess maybe I'm trading a little bit too hard to try to save the new PAs where I probably shouldn't care about them the most. Oh, I'm really torn on what I want to do here. really torn on what I want to do here. What is that risk? That is 60. It's 30 points. That's $600.
Order submitted.
All right, I threw in my trade looking for an IB failure. Risk is the recent swing high. I'm trading, I hope I'm trading it right. It doesn't look right. Oh, no, it does. Okay, the new accounts are trading half size. That's why the number is half. But I'm basically, this red dash line is the IB failure. I waited for the vomit, the rebound, that break. Probably would have been better in at 36, but I'm risking that high. And ideally on a puke of 24,000 flat right here. Fuck, it's coming for me. Dude, this is just going to be my luck today that I'm going to be like one bar off, like one wave off, and then the movement comes on the next one. But anyway, I would love to go break even on this push below 24,000, and I would really do it below 80. 24,000, I'm respecting it because there could be like a legitimate bounce there, which is, I only have 21 points of wiggle room, which is probably why I care a little bit more about whatever this low is, 79. But do I want to move it down to 45? That would save myself 10 points. It's just, dude, they're making it so difficult. These ranges, these
order filled.
Dude, this is just gonna vomit anyway. I'm just like adding up on these losses. Like I told you, it's just gonna knock me out. I just don't have the room. I don't have the room to get it to take advantage of this. Fuck, dude. I just don't have. These ranges are just so fucking wild. And I'm just unwilling to take on more. Of course, you could say, well, then Matt, give it more wiggle room. But I want to keep the risk in check. So like for me, I just need to keep taking these like lumps on the chin until I can catch the sell off. I don't want to take on more risk. It's just not worth it to me, because if I choose to take on more risk, that I think is where I would like get mentally tilted. And then all of a sudden it blows past me by like 100, 200, 300 points. And then all of a sudden I go from a manageable loss to something that you cannot manage anymore. And I just don't want to put myself in that situation. So I'd rather take these hits of $500 to $800 because I have a lot of bullets in the chamber because I have so much buffer, but I'm not willing to take on like a 2, 3, 4, 5K risk. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it in my book, because as much as I really do believe it's going to go, and I honestly deeply believe I will be right about that, you just don't know, because you could have caught this whole thing and yet we had this massive bounce anyway, and that could have knocked you out. So it's just, it's one thing to have a bias and be confident about it and use like all your confirmation across the board. But when you have these types of ranges, like timing has definitely an aspect of luck for sure. Oh man, win. This is breaking down now. I honestly don't mind this trade. It's just like everyone that I talk about, I'm like, oh, I don't mind it. Like I could be short at 60. That's 40 points. That's a little bit large. So I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of that one. Let me remove this. That might be a little bit more confusing than it needs to be, but we will. Once again, the red dash line is the initial balance. And we puked below it. We recovered. We bounced. I was trying to play that failure. It didn't fail. I got out. I was using the recent high. I got out at 60. Don't mind that. Currently trading at 90. So I'd be 30 additional points underwater. And like I said, it's just truly not worth it. Truly not worth it. How about walking away, no trade today? Why? If you're following a system, you're following a system. Like it's just that much. You have to be robotic and emotionless about it. So you stick to your system. I guess you could walk away, but I don't know that. I don't think you guys are really understanding the concept of how asymmetric this is. If today does flush and you catch the flush, you'll be massively green. It's just a question of, can you get in with minimal risk and have enough bullets in the chamber to attempt to catch the flush? That is like the tricky part. But in terms of like, oh, don't do it or that, like you're now no longer being mechanical. You're now no longer being robotic. The entire point of this is to be emotionless and just take the strategy, just take the setup. And you just do that time and time again. You don't want your emotions coming into it. Even right there, that breakdown was acceptable at 60. You took 30 points of heat. Like, that's just crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. That was an acceptable breakdown. You could either risk 70. Like, it's just where you're anchoring your risk to based on these chart values. It's just so brutal. It's so brutal. All right, we are looking for this trend line snap, which also would align with the snap of the initial balance. We're wondering, is this going to go or not? Honestly, this seems to be a pretty nice trade, but like it didn't really look much different than this trade, and yet you took that heat. It didn't look much different than this trade. Like, it's just, you don't know when it's going to go. That's the tough part. You don't know when it's going to go. We are struggling at that. Obviously, I'm looking for the breakdown of, I suppose, the 1045 low. Nvidia's going flat. Bitcoin's looking a little weak. The Mag 7 did pop, maybe curling down a little bit, but might be a higher low. Who knows? SPY got a nice bounce from 1036 to 1056. So 20 minutes might just be a little bit of a 20-minute bot system. 19. Dude, 40 points of risk. This risk. It's just so much. Like, the risk is just incredible per trade. Like, you really have to kind of get lucky with the current structure to be like, okay, because like just each bar is so big. So to be able to get in with minimal risk, you have to kind of get lucky with a setup that's like small risk. Are we going to crack this trend line, or are we going to bounce? Like, once again, if you have the bandwidth, you could have been short at 27, but your risk is up here at 57. So that's a 30-point risk. That's $600 per account on an NQ. And right there, look at these bounces. It's one thing to be on the right side of trend today. It is completely different to be on the right side of trend and get in where your risk is just not getting fucking completely blown out. What's VIX doing right now? VIX. It's holding. That is another piece of reasoning that makes me think this is going to get hit. VIX did take a hit. SPY took a little flush there. The Mag 7. It feels like no matter what I do, the flush comes like right after. Like, all the moves of when I'm attempting to get in, it seems like it's just painfully right after. Anyway, I think it's going to be pretty telling if this proves to be a lower high, which we would know if we push below this 1045 low on the 5-minute chart, especially if we close below it. I'm also watching VIX. Obviously, I'm also watching Bitcoin. And I'm just trying to fine tune an entry. Like, I kind of like the risk at 50, 57, but like, am I going to be the unfortunate guy who tries to take this and then it has one more push, then pukes? Or is it going to hit 24,000, pop 80 points, and then puke? Bearish, 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 bearish. You just don't know. It's just how many bullets do you have in the chamber to try to play it? What's reasonable risk? 60. It seems like I'm just fucking destined to miss this move today. It really does. It feels like no matter what the fuck I do, I am somehow destined to miss the puke. Were those quantum trades in the Discord? Asking because I think I'm sold on joining you. Yeah, ask anyone in the Discord. They were in there like the second I got in. Even that, look at this. We puked from 27. We puked 50-ish points, 40-ish points just to bounce 30. Like, very difficult. I feel very confident of trying to get this in. I'm just trying to get the trade in on the signal where I can take on low risk. Like, I'm getting the signal to short, like time and time and time again. The issue here is just every single, like most of these that it's firing because our ranges are so big, it's just too far away. Look at that. Like, even every single time it looks like it's going to go, boom, 10-point bounce. Boom, 10-point bounce. 5 minutes bearish, 10 minutes bearish, 34-hour. All time frames are bearish, basically. SPY, that's pushing red. Even this 80 up to 25. Wow. Like, I'm just going to miss it, man. It just doesn't feel like I can get in with what I perceive to be acceptable risk. And the ones that I've taken a shot at today, even some of them were like a little suspect, and like even they clocked me and they caught me money. But like, I mean, I've been pitching to you guys that I'm trying to take advantage of this the entire time. And it's just here on the breakdown at 17, do I really want to risk 60? On the push and then the bounce on this fail in at 90, do I really want to risk 25? Do I really want to risk 60? It's just like I keep second guessing how large the risk is because of how big these swings are. And I just feel so confident that this is going to pay big today if I could get it in without just getting clocked. Ah, man, it's really, this is tough for me today because I'm pitching this to you the entire time. And like, these would have all paid if I was just willing to accept a little bit more. But then that one time that you're like, nope, I'm just going to widen my risk a little bit, is like the way luck goes. That's going to be the time you get blown out. Like, it's just, so I'm unwilling to widen my risk tolerance because that's where personally I get in trouble. But had I widened my risk tolerance on probably any of these trades today, I probably would have been fine. Oh, it's such, I guess it's in a form resulting, and I'm not going to change just because I don't want this to get bad, but fuck, dude, it is painful. That was a nice breakdown. You're already up 60 points. It's a shame. A gosh darn shame. Yeah, we're pushing this. All right, we're going to move this to the intraday low. We're going to move that to the bounce. All right, so I have some alerts set up for new intraday lows. VIX is picking up. Mag 7 is tilting again. S&P 500 is tilting again. 5 minute. All the momentum is bearish. What was this? All right, we'll use. How are we looking over here? We're still crushing. We're back to an intraday high. I'm from a psychology standpoint of trying to be very, very hell-bent on like only taking acceptable risk. I'm having a tough time today because like all the times I'm looking at it, had I taken on a bit more risk, had I been a bit more degenerate, it would have worked. And then like where I am at keeping my risk uniquely tight, we're getting into some issues today. We're getting into some issues. But hang on. You never know. Maybe the market gods are just putting me into some sort of test. Maybe the market gods are just saying if I can pass their tests, I might be good. Just need to keep having patience. Keep having patience and just do the right thing. I feel like when it comes to trading, we always like inherently know what the right thing is to do. It's just like, do you want to do it at that moment in time? Obviously, I'm watching for maybe a higher low here, 1105. Technically, we didn't crack the low. We got really close. It becomes interesting if we take out the 1050 high. That could be that double bottom. I think it's not likely. It's just a thing I want to call out because you never know. We might just be finding buyers at the low from yesterday. You never know. Yeah, we're once again. So this, remember, the white horizontal line is the previous closing value. So we started off green, tested it, bounced, broke through, recovered, broke through, attempting to recover. So it's just, I guess, maybe we could see it better on the 1 minute here. I guess you could watch theoretically that consolidation zone. Something like that. But yeah, we're just ping-ponging around the red-green move right here, this white horizontal line. We were green, we were red, we were green, we were red. Now we're basically slightly green, neutral. We're waiting. Options flow, maybe a higher low, maybe just a lower high. Even that's consolidating. The S&P 500, big drop, big pump, big drop, big pump. What do we have here? Support is now coming back into 6,500. So it was there, then it left, and now it's once again growing. So 6,500 on SPX. Players are coming in to defend it, but most are still at 6,450 from a gamma perspective. Do you see Bitcoin going down to 54? I don't know. That's not the right question. As an active trader, that is not the right question at all. As an active trader, the question you should always be asking is just, what is the current trend, and can I take advantage of the trend with that? Can I take advantage of that trend with minimal risk? Just to be sitting there and be like, could it go here? Anything can happen. Do you want me to say yeah? Do you want me to say no? Like anything could happen. Of course, there's different probabilities to it, but like, is it theoretically possible? Of course it is. It's also theoretically possible it goes to 154. So like, what's the point? I see Bitcoin going down to 78K only. Cool, whatever. That's an opinion. And like, that doesn't mean it's right. Like, you're not backing it up by any statistics. Like, you're just literally looking at the chart and be like, oh, well, it kind of bottomed there before. But what do we know about support? Because you're talking about bottoming. Well, we know at support, there's a 50-50 shot. Maybe buyers come in or maybe they don't. And the sellers keep pushing it. You just don't know. Like, these are all very... Like, I understand why people want the answer to those questions because it would be the easiest way ever to make money. But the point is you're never going to get the answer. So what's the point in asking the question? There's no predestined model or anything like that that makes it work. Like, it's a game of any movement we have has a certain probability ascribed to it at every moment in time based on liquidity, based on option flow, based on sentiment. So certain pathways, whether all the way up, all the way down, or in between, anything like that, there's probabilities associated with it. And you might want to take the high probability plays. You might want to take the low probability plays. Lower ones are going to have bigger payouts. Higher ones are going to have less payouts. But like this idea of like, oh, is it predestined? Are we going to go here? Are we going to go there? No one knows, dude. So like, and I get that question all the time, and I fear it's just because so many people are taught about trading in the wrong way. Like literally just the education in this sphere is incorrect, because it's really this sentiment as if there's like some sort of model or whatnot that fully tells you what's about to happen. It doesn't exist. So could we hit it? Yeah, we could. Also, this could be the bottom and we could rip from here, and you could wake up tomorrow and it could be $100,000 more. This is a game, like just to remind you, my mental framework of the market is identify the key levels, play them accordingly. That's the name of the game. We're pushing on the close again right here. The 1 minute bounce up to this 50 EMA. We're battling it out. We have that trend line there. So even if it pushes, and then right on top of this trend line, you have the down sloping trend line, and then also the transition zone, which is also that key psychological level of 50. So this is really what we're watching. Will it get smacked here? This could be an interesting test. That's a decent bounce of 25 points. That's crazy. 25-point bounce as if it were nothing. 7 minutes, we've gone 25 points. And before that, we went from 56 down to 26. 30-point drop, and that only went from 10:57 to 11:05. So that took 8 minutes. Like, it's just what we're seeing today. These ranges are crazy. You're right. I learned when Trey trades was around, when I was learning from him. Yeah, because he doesn't know how to trade. The fact that anyone ever thought he knew how to trade, the second he opened his mouth, if you thought, wow, this is a guy who seems to know what he's talking about, that's on you. I mean, if you were so oblivious and so gullible, the second that guy said one sentence, if you're like, this is a guy who knows how to trade, that's your fault. That, like, you have some I guess, meditating to do on that one. That you only have yourself to blame. Like, Jesus Christ. Oh, if this cracks 22, there's 22, there's 4. That's the initial bounce. We keep just swinging around the initial bounce. That's this red dash line. Right here, we created the initial balance at 1022. That was the low. First test, pop, drop. We recover. We test it again, fake out, pop. Then we drop again, put in a slightly higher low. We pop again. Like, it's just, Jesus. Wow. This IB. 88.27. A 60-point risk. If you short the IB failure, you're taking on a 60-point risk. It's just incredible. I'm dumbfounded by how big like the risk has to be today. Matt, I was a first-time trader. Don't blame me for getting fooled by Trey. No, I do. Like, that's just, if you don't have that innate ability to realize who's completely full of shit when it's the most obvious thing ever, once again, that is on you. I don't necessarily blame you for getting caught up in the hype of the community and like just the sentiment. But if you got caught up into the hype thinking that that was a rock star trader who's going to teach you to take your trading to the next level, that is 100% your fault. 100% your fault. Like, dude. There's a certain like type of person that the second they open their mouth, you just know they're as dumb as a fucking box of rocks. And if you haven't developed that ability at this point in your adult life to realize that some people are just as dumb as they possibly come, that's on you. That's on you. I was told Darwinism would have like figured that one out. They in recovery mode with the stock today. People are taking anything they can get. I have no idea what you're talking about. Trey getting the AMC CEO interview with simulation stuff? No, it's because as much as Adam Aaron is a scumbag, he's not dumb, at least not that dumb, so he took advantage of him. Like, you're going to see that type of stuff all the time. He realized that he could just puppet him like no other because, once again, he was dumb as a box of rocks. There's a reason he didn't do an interview with anyone of caliber or substance, because he knew the second he would have been torn to shreds. So he intentionally only did interviews with a dipshit because he knew he like could get away with it. Like that one's pretty easy to explain, and maybe it's not so evident, and maybe I guess it is to me because I was on the other side of it. But like, if you look at it, he only wanted to talk with people that he could like completely manipulate. Wait, didn't Matt collab with Trey a couple times? Yeah, and then you learn from your mistakes. It's called being human. It's not like you know about a person beforehand. Like, all of a sudden you have to spend time and watch their content and understand how they talk, and then guess what? After that, guess who stopped talking to him? Guess who stopped collabing with him? Me, obviously. In fact, I started to like call him out. But like, what? You're supposed to know 100% about every single person ever and everything they did before you ever somehow interact with them? That doesn't make the most sense to me. All right. This just cracked. We cracked initial balance. I was hoping for one green bar that then failed. I'm hoping for one green bar because I don't want to risk all the way up here at 95. Give me a green bar that fails that I can anchor. Like, I just have not had an opportunity today to anchor my risk. Old Matt would have been chasing this right now and just praying for the best, taking on literally 100 points of risk, but I just refuse to do it. I refuse to do it. It got me in trouble a lot on Monday of this week, and I'm not even a week removed. Your boy's not going to do that. Old Matt would have been chasing this and been like, cool, short at 25, risking 95, taking on... Dude, but even this, like, it's just not enough. That's a little green bar. Granted, you could short this, but it's right at 400. Like, maybe if it pops up, I just need something more reasonable. I just can't bring myself to do it. Too far. Too far, too far, too far. Too freaking far, my brothers. My brothers. Wow, that one got cracked pretty hard. Come on, let's a little bounce. Maybe just give me a little bounce. It's funny because on a day like today, a little bounce is like legitimately a full movement you would have previously been looking for. I'm looking for a little bounce of like 20 to 50 points. And on any other day, a 20 to 50 point move is like the main move you're looking for. And now I'm actually calling it a little bounce. That's just crazy. That just shows how deranged this has gotten today. What is that? That's 46. Oh, and we're still pumping. See? Old Matt would have chased that down here at like 24,000 and I would already be down by 50 points. I'd already be down by $1,000. So this, even though today hasn't necessarily gone exactly the way I wanted to, I don't mind the protection because you just need one good trade to make it work, and one bad trade could just end the game. So for me, even though it's not working exactly how I wanted to, trying to be like so hardcore about exactly what my risk is, this is why. Old Matt would have chased this breakdown somewhere between 24,000, 24,020. We'll cut it in half, and I'm already down 50 points. I'm already down $1,000 per contract, and it doesn't seem to be even reverting in my favor. I think it eventually will revert in my favor, but like, we literally just bounced 80 points, dude. AMC max pain is 250, dude. You have no idea what you're even talking about. You have no idea. This idea of like, oh, it's max pain is a bunch of people who are regurgitating bullshit that they saw on Twitter and don't literally at all understand what options markets are and how they function and what max pain is. It's just like, it's a good sounding thing to get dumb fucking likes and whatnot on Twitter. Max pain. Shut up, dude. Shut up. That's the dumbest thing ever. VIX is taking a considerable hit. All right. Well, they almost set us up. This higher low is now kind of holding at 11:05. What a day we are having. Max pain. So stupid. Like, it just... Some people... I always question, like, how are there people so gullible? How are there people that are just so oblivious? But there they are. Time and time again. There they are. Max Payne. I blame the Department of Education. We just have an extreme lack of critical thought. Isn't Max Payne similar to gamma levels? No. Not at all. Not Max Payne. Oh, jeez. All right, we're getting some sort of a pump right here. Mag 7, not only in price, but also in options flow. Higher low there. I mean, if we're comparing 1040 to about 1105, we're getting a decent trend up after a puke, but could be a change of trend. S&P 500, similar generic thing. We had the low at 1037, a higher low at the turn of the hour, another higher low, and you can see it's trending up. Actually, we're at a delta high on the S&P 500, while the Mag 7's not at a delta high. In fact, it got hit pretty bad, but depending on where you start the measurement from, it's a slight trend up. Looking on the intraday, we still, at least on the 5-minute, have lower highs, but now you have higher lows. So it's kind of interesting of like, okay, which one's going to break first? Are we going to, it's just, of course, the range is very difficult, but technically it is lower highs and higher lows, which by definition is consolidation. On this pump right now, somewhat of seemingly a God candle, you're seeing the VIX get hit pretty decently hard. Wow. In the past 5 minutes, NQ has pumped 125 points. That's $2,500 in 5 minutes. It's just fucking insane. My biggest misstep of the day, honestly, wasn't any of my trades. I would argue from a math standpoint, I support all my trades and I think they were all good decisions. My biggest misstep was when I saw how big the ranges were. I was hoping that they would calm down past 1030, which is why I was still trading a mini contract. But seeing that the ranges are persisting, I probably should have switched to trading 5 micros. Like I think that was thus far, my biggest misstep of the day, my biggest regret of the day. It wasn't any of the trades. Hey, I think I had solid reasoning. I was trading with trend. I had good risk. It just so happens that the risk hit on each one. And some of them were like noteworthy bad beats because right after I got knocked out, it would go in my way. I think the very fair criticism is maybe not in the morning or maybe not at first, but maybe by my second or third trade, I should have been sizing down. I think that's very fair to say because I stayed at a mini, as I've just said, because I thought the vol would calm down and just it hasn't calmed down. I mean, I don't even know the last time that we've had an example of a day like this where vol didn't calm down. What do we have going on? All right, well, let's map out this 1025 high. We're going to map out this 1120 low. Okay, well, while things are not on the verge of breaking down and we're just getting a little bit of a bounce being led by the SPY, tech's still a little weak. We're right at that red to green test right now. Bitcoin is at its like strange equilibrium of 83 while VIX is taking a hit but still elevated at 25. This feels like a perfect time to do Payday Friday giveaway. So you have about 2 minutes to figure this out while I get the game going. It is pinned to the top of chat. It is in the description of the video. All you have to do to get your chance at winning either the race or one of these prop accounts, like, retweet, and follow. Easy peasy, lemon squeezies, like, retweet, and follow. And it's pinned to the top of chat. It's in the description of the video. My mod will put it in chat. While I'm giving you guys a couple extra minutes to do that, I will get the game going. We'll get that booting up just to get you guys a little extra time there. All right, that is cooking. X picker. All right, close pop-up. Where was the tweet? Here is the tweet. Here is the picker. All right. Matt underscore Kohrs. Right? On Matt underscore Kohrs, I think. Let's just double check that. Matt underscore Kohrs. Cool. All right. Optional. So maybe we just do all 10 at first. And here's what I'll do. Okay, so we're going to do the 10, and obviously we are giving away 10 prop accounts. 5 are coming from Apex, 5 are coming in from funded futures networks. So the winners, based on whatever list is generated right here, every other person. So the first one's Apex, next one is FFN. Next person is Apex, next person is FFN. That's how we're going to do it. We're going every other person on the list of 10, so we only have to do one drawing, but you understand what I'm saying is we're picking 10 people. First one's Apex, next one's FFN, next one's Apex. Obviously, those are going to be the 5 and 5. And then all 5 people selected, or excuse me, all 10 people selected are going to be in the race, which, why is that not working? Oh, here we go. This is now working. Sick. This is working. Continue. Okay, cool. All right, so we have that. All right, we might as well pick. We're drum roll, please. Going in 3, 2, 1. All right, searching for a winner. Please wait, please wait, please wait. Who are our 10? There we go. All right, let me take a quick screenshot of this so I do not forget it. All right, here we go. Awesome. Downloads, cool. All right, so we got it. So once again, Apex, FFN, Apex, FFN, Apex, FFN, Apex, FFN, Apex, FFN. You get the point. Every other one. You guys, congrats. If you are MUFC, if you are J Keith, LSJN, Mike Howell, J Hundo, Imbuse, Trippy, Fuzzy, AZ West, or Crypto Noobster, congrats. You already won something, and you guys are going to be the 10 people who are going to be in the race. So that's exciting, and I think I'm getting a breakout alert or a potential reversal alert here. What do we have going on? Okay, we did take out the high, but did we take out the intraday high? We did not. SPY is leading the way higher, but not the NASDAQ, which is interesting. And Vol just took a big hit. So it's not a tech sector recovery, but I guess the rest of the world is recovering. Is it energy? Is it financials? Energy and financials are looking decent. Utilities, not so much. Industrials are looking good. Healthcare is looking good. Healthcare is actually helping quite a bit. Real estate is bouncing a decent amount. Consumer staples, not so much. Consumer discretionary is already also looking good. Tech is helping, but not so much. Healthcare is actually really getting a pop there, XLV. And then in that pop, we're seeing VIX on a relative basis to where we were today take a big hit. But overall, it's still just like range bound, and Bitcoin is just chilling. It's kind of tough to argue if we're out of the woods, not, because it could obviously just be a double top rejection right here. We're just at this key level. We haven't broken into the bullish zone. Granted, in the short term, if you were scalp trading, that was a decent trade to the upside, but we're just at another battle zone. Unfortunately, this isn't like some definitive breakout. In fact, on the 10-minute, you can see how poor things still are. I mean, this could get up to anywhere in this zone and still easily get rejected. So I wouldn't say that either party should be necessarily feeling safe. I don't think the bulls should be like, this is amazing, this is a comeback. And also the bears, I mean, well, this is a bounce. You didn't get the crack. You did hit the low, but obviously we have not broken down yet. So I wouldn't say that either party should necessarily feel like amazing about what's going on. The S&P 500 just got a flow alert. Could be a continuation, could be a top tick. It just means a large amount of trading. Mag 7 getting that pump, but we're going to see how long this either does or does not last. So anyway, congrats to all the people who already won a prop count, but now it is time to find the fastest racer in all of the land. All right, so we have MUFC, we have J Keith, we have LSJN actually winning an account last week. We have Mike Howell, we have J Hundo, we have EM Dews, whatever the hell the name that one is. We have Trippy, we have Fuzzy, we have AZ Weiss, Weiss maybe, and then we have a Crypto Noobster. All right, those are our 10 competitors. Finish, great. Random map, got it. All right, we are on Bongo Boogie is the map that we are going to be rocking today. And then also in the meantime, we might as well get some good tunes going from Tendies and Tunes. Oh, I should probably make sure that they're properly 10. What do we have over here? DJ Piper, Payday Friday EDM. Well, that sounds like the one for us. All right, folks, before we get rocking, we have 10 of the fastest racers in all the land. My question to you guys is, who do you think's going to win? Who are you pulling for on this one? Cheers, Matt. Shout out. Dude, this wallet is looking awesome on Rumble Wallet. Before we get going, obviously here, I'll show you who our competitors are. Let's let this load for a second. There's our 10 racers. Who are you pulling for? Who are you pulling for? Who do you think is going to get the victory today? Remember, this is prison rules, as in there are no rules. All that matters is being the first marble to get to the finish line. That's what matters. If you had to bet right now, we got some people pulling for Fuzzy, LSJN, Vic Dog's going for MK. All right. I like the people supporting themselves. All right. I can respect that. Well, let's see. Let's get some of this music going, because we are off to the races in 3, 2, 1. Sorry about that. The music was very... Whoa. We're going to have some sort of, I guess, shot here. Trippy making the first move. Well, let's go along with Trippy. We're going up this elevator, and we're going to see how this one goes. Get ready. Whoa, big bounce. Trippy in the lead, followed by MUFC Trippy. All right. Who is in hot pursuit? MUFC by AZ, by J Keith. All right, Trippy. Let's see if Trippy can hold on to his lead, taking the left path. Once again, followed by MK, by MUFC. MK taking the right path. Let's see. We're going down the stair steppers, and then it looks like we have a second noteworthy shot coming in. Trippy, will he be able to hold his lead? Boom, bouncing. Missing the next one. Oh, we have a competitor. MK and Trippy are going at it, followed by EMD. Can we catch the speed up? Yes, they both catch the speed up. Can we catch the second one? Yes, MK taking a better path. MK shooting ahead. Will he be able to retain this? MK, yes, no, maybe so. What in the world is going on? EMD coming out of nowhere. Must have gotten a good bounce. Wow. EMD is the victor, even though MK was right there. Wow. Congratulations. EMD, maybe better known as EM Dwaz? Let me see if I can throw this name up for you so you guys can see what I'm seeing. Hang on, let me get out of this. Here were the final results. EMD, MK, J Hundo, Trippy, Fuzzy, JK, and then we had actually 4 unfortunate deaths, but sometimes that does happen. Emmanuel, winner, chicken dinner. I'll be reaching out to you, obviously, right after this to be able to give you your winnings, but congrats to you. Kind of coming out of nowhere, brother. Very, very impressive. Spy hitting a new intraday high, by the way. Q's and Spy back to being green, but not out of the woods. What is nicely bullish right now is how much the VIX is getting clapped. And it did save itself twice at that low. Mag 7 is starting to climb. S&P 500 just hit a fresh delta high. But let's see. I'm watching this breakdown of the 1130 low. I want to know if it can hold this kind of nice pump that we've been seeing starting from 11 till now, but more so favoring the bulls. I'm seeing the vol starting to really get clapped. Interesting. Yeah, well, there's really no other point to mark this off of. All right, 5 minute was bearish, trying to go bullish. 10 minute was bearish, trying to go bullish. 30 minute testing that bearish now. This, I think, will be a big one. So I know it's a pain because we have 22 minutes until this bar closes. If it closes above, that's a big win. If the next bar pushes this bar's high, that's a very big win. Then, however, if we actually get rejected here and come below, that's problematic. So for this afternoon, I'm very much going to be paying attention to this 30-minute bar. And once again, it's nice and bullish if we can close above, because 5, 10, 30, all bullish. It's even better if the next bar breaks this bar's high. And then the bear case would be the inverse of we don't hold here and we actually crack this bar's low. So right now, very interesting. And 5 minute trying to go bullish on NQ, 10 minute, 30 minute has a bit of distance to go. It would have to take out its intraday high for that to pull off. So still on the bear side. So not necessarily out of the woods. This is just like a really awkward in-between situation. Intraday, things were weak and now they're bullish and we're just kind of reverting. But then if you look at the 30 minute and the 4 hour, I mean, the 4 hour is really bearish and the 30 minute on NQ is not even pushing. So this is anyone's game. I would be, as I've been throughout the stream, I'm like, hey, be like very careful about your risk. Don't just take on absurd risk in one direction or the other. That holds. The one major thing I'm seeing right now that does support the bull camp is how much vol is getting hit. And the SPY did make a new intraday high. But what I care more about is that the 30-minute bar setup that I'm explaining to you. And right now, the SPY options flow, it did hit a delta high. Maybe it holds, maybe it doesn't. Mag 7's recovering. That it was pretty bearish and it's recovering. So in my mind, this is all just kind of netting out to neutral. It feels like we're kind of awkwardly stuck in between. We were bearish at building on the sell-off from yesterday, but now we're recovering and tech's a little bit weak. SPY's a bit stronger. So something's going on in the tech sector, kind of tying back to this idea of what's going on with the AI trade. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one, especially because effectively we're range bound thus far. We're not trending. We were trending down and we just broke that trend. But then how long will this trend continue? Well, your guess is as good as mine. And in reality, it's tough to play just because reasonable risk points, because the range is so big, your reasonable risk points are considerably far away. So you're taking on big risk for all of your trades, even though we're not getting that nice trend. Obviously, at one point today, maybe earlier on, you could have taken that short, but that's a lot of hindsight bias, to be completely honest. And I'm not sold on either side. I'm not necessarily confidently bearish at this point because we did get a nice double bottom bounce off of the low from yesterday. We're getting a W formation on the Qs. It broke below, tagged it, got rejected, higher low. We ripped right through. So I can understand if you're really zoomed into today that this looks bullish. I get that. But then when you go to a larger time frame, the 30 minute, the 4 hour, the daily, the bears still seemingly have quite a bit of control. And then when I look at the flow, the Mag 7 is just now neutral because it was very bearish. Now it's very bullish. And the SPY's been a bit more bullish, but tech's not following suit. So that's what I'm saying, where I don't think either side could be that confident right now. And unless one side shapes up to be a bit more confident, maybe it's just a day to literally do nothing. That's completely fine. That's completely fine. If you're just not seeing it, if you aren't confident, trend is one thing. It's tough because trend can switch at any point, and more important than that is just risk. If you're nope, this is just not worth the risk right now based on the current setup, just don't take it. That's how your accounts are going to survive this type of situation. So for me, I'm just kind of waiting. There is a chance. My assumption for this afternoon is just no in between. I think it's either going to be absurdly boring and we get gamma pinned and we just get stuck at a key level and we barely move, or I think it's going to be a big move. I don't think, my main assumption is we're not going to be in the middle. I think it's either going to be explosive and crazy moves or really kind of nothing at all. I would say going into market close today, I think the least likely scenario is kind of like, oh, like we kind of had a trend, but like not really, but like that medium situation, I think is the least likely, at least based on right now and what we're seeing. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that. Remember, take advantage of the Funded Futures Network deal. Code Goonie, get 50% off when you buy one, you get one. There's no activation fee, so you can get 2 accounts all in for $75. And for Apex, Code Goonie, 80% off, $40 lifetime fee. This is the best deal they have, and this is the last trading day, I believe. Maybe with this time, maybe you might be able to trade on Monday. I'm not 100% sure. This is either the last day or the second to last day, but that code Goonie will work on both. And then, of course, Rumble launched their wallet today. So if you happen to have an Android, you could take advantage of it. If you're on iOS, that will be coming soon. So I just want to let you know on that as well. But folks, that's what I have for you today, right now. As kind of promised, a lot of craziness, really big swings, some of the biggest intraday swings we've seen in a minute. And I don't think that the party's necessarily over quite yet, which means please respect your risk. That's like the major thing I can tell you guys is just don't let your risk get out of hand. It's okay. You could take a lot of paper cut losses. An account can survive quite a bit. But if you just take that one blow, like you could get completely murked. So please be careful with that. If you happen to be one of the winners, I'll be reaching out to you later on today. Other than that, I hope you enjoy your Friday. Be safe, have fun this weekend, and then we're going to post some update videos, and then I'll be catching you on Sunday, the update video, and then Monday we're going to be streaming again. I appreciate all the good vibes. Have a good one. Peace.